be having a well, did we just go live? I messed that up.
Yeah.
Derp. Okay. Traditional spaghetti dropped at the opening, and then the show gets better from here on out. We're doing a show today with myself and Black Knight, Pigeon, Dart, and Gwen Lily Knight. We're going to be having a call-in rotation. Oh, and Serp's here. Hey, Serp. Serp?
Testing.
He just got in. It'll take a second, but he should be here.
All right. Let's have each host introduce themselves real quick, and then we'll get the conversation started.
My name is Dart Ison, Dartison, or Space Worm. I'm just a gamer like everybody else, supporting Gamergate, and we want to have this stream for some of the lesser voices in Gamergate, and we want to look forward. So that's why I'm here. On to John, Gwen, anyone?
Hello?
Gwen, you go. Gwen?
Nope, Gwen.
I think Gwen's having audio problems.
All right. Serp first, then.
I'm that guy that was in that other stream that's really tired.
Fair
Really
enough.
Tired.
Okay, go on. Okay. Pigeon, you want to introduce yourself?
I'm still muted.
Yeah, Pigeon's doing a lot of door manning, so he won't be able to talk until he gets, through all the people that want on the show, I think.
He can't multitask. Wow. John, you need to sack him.
Bad doorman, bad.
I'm considering it. If there's any Gamergate cuties out there to be my secretary, I'll appreciate that.
That's misogynistic.
All right. Black Knight, you want to introduce yourself?
Might as well. I'm Black Knight, Slayer of White Knights, and I'm mainly just here to be the reserve voice for this chat.
Okay. And Gwen, are you ready?
Test. Can it be heard?
You can be heard, yes.
Oh, good. Thank God. Can't believe I already need a new mic.
Oh no.
Whatever. I'll just try to convince one of my followers to pitch in to buy me another one. This one was bought by one of my Twitch followers because they really like watching me do whatever I do on Twitch.
That's cool.
So yeah, I do game dev on Twitch. I play games with my partner on Twitch. I talk about tabletop. I discuss game mechanics. I go out on Twitter and I tank for people that are getting dogpiled and convince everyone to go after me instead, and otherwise try to cheer people up. And basically, I'm a healing tank paladin.
That's a good description. That's a good description.
So, our first guest on here is Joshua.
Hi there.
Is there anything that what's on your mind? What's going through your mind when it comes to Gamergate now?
Well, my major concern with Gamergate is that the thing about journalism ethics has become something of a joke now, because it's the only thing that we're able to really respond with. I would like to suggest that journalistic ethics is going to be a $5 word for a wider scope of competitive markets, meaning that instead of the game developers and the game journalists colluding over the market, the gamers, they should be competing over us, the market, the gamers, so that in the long run it'll also end up being better for the economy. And that's all I had to say.
My only question in regards to that is, but they aren't directly, the journalists and the developers aren't directly competing against each other, and by nature it would be a symbiotic relationship. How would you like them to compete against each other for the economy?
I guess what I meant was that wow, that is kind of a rough question that I wasn't ready for. it seems to me that the journalists, I mean, when they did the Gamers Are Dead articles, that's what started a lot of this shit.
Right.
Um,
Now, are you saying that, obviously because these different sites they're supposed to be competitors, which means they shouldn't be having articles that are, like, very identical or sound like an echo chamber of sorts?
right.
Okay, yeah. I definitely see what you're saying there, because it goes with the conclusion that the sites shouldn't be colluding. Obviously, they should be competing. And things would probably be different if they were in more of a competing nature.
Yeah, exactly. And not necessarily trying to compete, like get each other out of business, but if there's more competition from the big and even the indie developers, it's more motivation for us to buy, and it's more motivation for them to develop better quality games.
The indie scene is actually quite diluted. Like you look at Steam's Greenlight, and it is just flooded.
Well, yeah.
That's actually quite a terrible system when you come to think about it now. But a lot of those indie developers compete by helping each other out. Actually, I think. To get themselves off a green light, they kind of team up and vote themselves out of green light. I think that's there was an article about it. The Facebook group that was voting each other's stuff so that they could get off green light.
No, it's a Steam group, and they're basically saying that if you vote for the other members' Steam games, I mean, Greenlight games to be put on Steam, they will later vote for your game when you put it on Greenlight. So it's collusion.
Right. Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to add to any of that, Josh?
I don't think so.
No, I'm gonna kind of echo the same question that I ask a lot of the guests. Okay. It was the same one that I asked on Tuesday. It was, what do you think Gamergate needs to do to be more efficient, more focused? What do you think they should do to succeed in what we're doing right now?
Well, obviously, the most important thing is to send your emails. If you've already sent your email for the day, the next day, send it again. Just keep emailing. That's all. That's the only advice of how that I can give to Gamergate as to how you can succeed. Just keep emailing. Keep emailing.
Right, and that's definitely something that we've been doing probably since the beginning. But how would you think about possibly trying to have like some sort of campaign of good faith for developers?
That's a good question.
Is that something that intrigues you?
Yes, it is something that intrigues me. I'm not sure. I can't really think of any way for us to directly reach out to the developers apart from just like tweeting them our concerns or sending them emails. But there's still I think there's still too much volatility in Gamergate to at the moment anyway. For that to be a serious concern. I mean, it's the kind of thing where we should cross that bridge when we come to it.
Right, and kind of the encouraging emails is kind of probably the only thing we can do right now, or at least it seems to be the best bet.
I'm sure there's other methods that we can use that we'll be able to use, but right now we just need to grind. This is the level grinding part. we need to level up.
Right. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think that was it.
What about the rest of you guys?
I don't really have any questions at the moment. Sorry, I've been busy. I haven't been giving this guest as much attention as he deserves. Yeah, I think he brings up a lot of good points. Like, we need to stay focused. We need to the Operation Disrespectful Not, as it's called, boycott campaign still needs to keep going strong. We just still keep on appealing to the advertisers, and we should also keep other options in mind. So I would mostly agree with what he's been saying, and yeah.
Yep,
Alright.
ignore e-drama, keep sending emails.
It sounds like the best bet for now. But thanks for coming on, Josh. We'll probably have to talk with some other people for now. We'd definitely probably like to hear from you again on later streams.
Would love to come back on.
All right, man. Thanks.
Have a good night.
Mhm.
All right. It looks like we have Steve Tom Sawyer in here with us.
Hello? You're on.
Steve.
Steven?
Are you there, Steve?
Yeah.
Oh, there you are.
Hey. Sorry, I was busy doing things on the other tab.
I imagine you've got a lot of things going on now, so.
Yeah, I know we were aware that you're working on the Project Carbon Radio, which is a project that I am interested in. How's that going?
We're very close to being funded. Let me actually look at the page right now. We're already producing episodes, just so everybody knows.
Oh, is there a link you can put out in the chat?
Yeah, I could do that. We're like $450 away. So
Nice.
it's like we're almost done.
Yeah, you'll definitely get funded.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm just hoping that, people really take to it. We can get a really big push, and maybe hit a push goal before the end of the campaign. That would be amazing. Because then we can do longer episodes.
Right. And I think you're one of the people that I'd like to ask the same question. I've been thinking that we should push towards the devs for a while in some sort of good faith measure, and you seem like a guy that might know of a good way to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have ideas for how something like that could be accomplished. But like I was saying to people today briefly on Sargon's cast, it's like, I'm not really, and I'm sure you guys know this. Pigeon knows this from just hanging out and talking to me like a lot when we play Payday 2 together. I'm not somebody that kind of gives a shit about like any of the small little Flashpoint stuff. Like, I think some of the questions that both King of Holy Monday and Matt, sort of brought up for me were, questions that deserve to be asked about corporate subterfuge and espionage and how all those things like work in a general way. But for me to sort of get into like the attempts at defenestrations of people in perceived positions of power, like, I don't know, it just seems so weird and out of place for me. The whole thing is like people were asking why I don't really get into too many arguments about like my legitimacy on Twitter and stuff, and I was like, anybody who attempts to discredit me has to fall back on the weight of the truth, and I'm just the kind of person who it's like I stand on the principles of the truth, and I know who I am, and like I just don't really usually have time to even engage in most of that shit because I'm too busy working.
Right,
Yeah.
you're right. You pretty much just shrug it off, basically, right?
I try to, I mean, the other day I got really mad because there was a big, like, flood of people, like, being really abusive to me and really vitriolic and everything else. And then, when I found out I was on not one, but 2 block lists, I was a little annoyed last night. I was pretty pissed off. And then I got a couple of emails this morning for how I reacted to all that, where people were just like, you can't do or say the things that you were doing on Twitter. And it's like, I think out of all the people, really, I've been kind of tame compared to how some other people have sort of blown out on Twitter. But
My personal opinion on the block list is I think of it as a compliment, because if they think we're dangerous enough to actually have to actively block, then that means we're saying something they don't like, and they're afraid of it. And also,
Right. I mean, yeah.
at least with one
I
block
don't.
list. Sorry.
No,
Go
no,
ahead.
no. It's fine. I was just saying I don't disagree with that at all. It's just maybe I could have handled it a little bit better instead of fucking tweeting camera, which is, like that's not the most mature way to handle.
We're all only human.
Boogie
Yeah.
didn't have a fantastic reaction either to it, so I don't think you're the only one, really.
Yeah, I don't appreciate it. To me, it's just like how dare you? Like I'm somebody who's really tried to operate under the guise of thumb of journalism on this whole damn thing, and I'm trying to sift through what is and what isn't rhetoric and get to the core truth of what's going on. And I'm put on a block list for it because I attempt to follow people who I feel are core to the conversation. I mean, at one point I was following, Zoe Quinn, because I wanted to see what the hell that was all about. I was following Feminist Frequency for a little bit because I wanted to see what the hell that was all about. It's like, just because I follow certain people doesn't, I just don't get the mentality there. So it annoyed me. It really made me upset. I'm just somebody who's trying to do his research.
And also, in regards to the second block list, they put over 17,000 people on that list. If you have to block that many people on Twitter, you have a problem.
Right, I think the first one was 7,000, then the next one was bigger or something. Whatever. I'm over it. I blew out, and blew my steam out last night on the whole damn thing, and maybe I shouldn't have done that. I don't know, but.
Well, we all have ways of relieving internet drama and stuff like that. And if you're just gonna flip them off, so what?
Well, that's the thing. Maybe I'm not as groomed and as polished as somebody like Eric Kane at Forbes, who has to operate under the guise of a big media company. I'm still fiercely independent, and that means that there are some times where. Yeah, I don't have a PR person looking over my shoulder, approving or disapproving of every little thing I do, so I just kind of do whatever the hell I want. And oftentimes, doing whatever the hell I want is not popular. So I'm just kind of, I'm still dealing with the consequences of some of that shit, even today.
Yeah, I believe there's a certain balance you need to maintain. You can't let yourself get dogpiled, and you can't let yourself look like an idiot, like some people have done.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that me flipping off the camera is a big sort of jurisdictional faux pas in terms of whether or not I'll ever be able to get a job for the rest of my life. I don't think that's the case, especially when you consider that most of the stuff I'm trying to do is independently produced and financed.
If that was the case, no one would be hired ever at all.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
So, but falling back again to the whole conversation of what's currently going on, again, for me, shit happens. People fall by the wayside. If you're my whole job has always ever been the same, which is to deliver good content that encapsulates the truth of the matter. And the reality of it is, without a vehicle like Radio Nero to continue doing that sort of stuff, carbon-based radio had to take its place. We're filling a void. I feel like we were doing something good by giving a platform to conversations that weren't happening anywhere else. And you can verify that by just seeing how many people are I wish Radio Nero was still around, because we were doing something good. And that's what I believe in first and foremost. You do something good, you do something that actually educates, and you do something that helps people out. And then whatever you have to, as a realist. For everybody who was upset that we actually had to come up with a production budget and money to create this really high-end podcast, it takes 40 hours a week to put something like this of this scale together. It's ridiculous. And you have to chase people around for weeks to get interviews.
Right.
You think that hatred thing happened overnight? Absolutely not. I've been talking to them. I think this would have been the third or fourth week before I finally got that confirmation.
Well, I'm sure we have a lot of people on the list that want to come onto the stream. Pigeon, who do we have next up? We can have multiple people on here, by the way, but we kind of need to bring in the next person.
Right. If we do have multiple people on at once, I request that when you come on the show, mute your mic and let the other person have their say, and then we'll get back to you in turn.
Oh yeah, I've got some work to do, so I told Pigeon if he wants me to chat or chime in on anything, just message me on Skype.
Oh, okay. I did have some more questions, but I guess we can ask some other time.
Yeah,
Thank you for coming on the show.
If you guys want to hit me up whenever, you know how to find me.
Okay.
Also, tell Pigeon he's a shitlord.
I tell him that every day. All right. Thank you for coming on the show.
Adios, man.
See you, man.
Have a good night. All right. Who's our next guest?
I just want to say thanks to Sargon for pimping this out again. Thanks, mate.
Did he do it? Oh, man.
Thank you, Sargon.
Thank you, Sargon. And
That's
also
like
thank you.
That's a quality seal of approval, isn't it?
Yeah. Also, thanks to Gwen for signal boosting us too. Pigeon, you there?
He's still muted.
Pigeon?
Worst pigeon.
Unmute yourself. Come on, man. Talk. Who's next?
He's having a wank.
Oh my
I'll
gosh.
bet you anything.
Now we do need to find a cutie secretary.
Well, I guess we got to come up with something while we're waiting for Pigeon to bring on the next person.
Let me see what's in the chat. Diana, I wish Radio Hero was still around.
Okay. Well,
Guilt by association, the blacklist. Guess we can talk about Nero.
You want to talk more about the block list? Because I did have a couple more things to say about that.
I got on both block lists.
You did?
Does anyone have a link to the block list? So, because I haven't seen it yet.
yeah, we can also post the block list in chat.
I
think
believe both are at
think
GitHub.
it's more than likely if it's the GitHub one, you're probably on it. There's a safe bet that you're probably on it. The other one, the Premier one, the original Blockbot, is quite hard to get onto apparently.
I want to see. Well,
You need to be a Premier shitlord.
I think I have to call him a shitlord again to function.
Right, well,
here we go. Gitlord, blacklist.
we're losing viewers because your pigeon is shit.
Dang it. Pigeon, where are you? Okay. For those who are trying to get on, who were queued but could not get on, follow. Who wants to actually follow me? I'll take your responsibility. Follow me on Twitter at jkellytwit. I will put that down in the description below, and that's also another thing. I didn't update that. So hold on one moment. I apologize for the technical difficulties.
Do me a favor, kick Pigeon out.
I think I might. I'll have to work with him in a moment. I'm pretty sure that he wouldn't just drop out for no reason. So
Pigeon is kill.
yes,
Yeah.
Pigeon is killed today.
Yeah, well, look at that picture. He's like a zombie robot pigeon.
Okay, Mr. Newbie Banana in chat says, can we get a general happenings for this week? I'm kind of lost. I've kind of lost track 4 days ago.
This week.
So what?
There's 2 David Pacman interviews this week.
Yeah, and the Hot Wheels one was yesterday. I thought Hot Wheels did a pretty good job.
He did an excellent job. I think he defended his business stance well, and he also made it clear that he's not pro-doxing or pro-harassment in a professional manner. Because honestly, why does that question need to be asked? Is my question for David Pacman, though. Because who would answer yes to that? I mean, like, if I call you a child molester, would you say yes, I'm a child molester? It's kind of a loaded question.
Well, if you're proud of it, yeah, you would.
Yeah, but I don't think many people are. That's the thing. I mean, even people who want to be apologetics for abusive behavior don't actually openly admit they've engaged in abusive behavior. So it was kind of a weird interview, but at the same time, Hot Wheels, as always, was based Hot Wheels, and he held his position firm and well. And I have a lot of respect for that guy.
And Pac-Man was really asking kind of some good questions, like whether or not that, as the global admin of HN, if he put out some sort of statement on the site, in which case Hot Wheels didn't put out any statement because technically it wasn't his jurisdiction, it was the board moderator, or the board owner, I should say.
John, the
Yes?
chat says Simon is here for pancakes, which is nice that Simon's come along, and Facile Goose has said remove the pigeon kebab. I think we should take a vote on kicking him off to make space.
I don't think that'll be necessary because we will have enough space for guests.
I know, but I just want to kick him off. You know, just.
Oh, okay. Tell you what, up or down vote. If you the chat decide that you don't want the pigeon on anymore, we will kick him off.
Well, put that
there's no telling when he'll come back. You might as well just keep him on because he has a lot of people on the list.
That is true. Actually, that's a good point. So actually, I'm sorry we can't kick him off as much as hilarious it would be. So I just received 2 follows from people, and I will follow them back. Give me a moment. Actually, I'm getting a lot of followers now, so bear with me. You guys, also, maybe we should talk, you guys talk so we don't have dead air. I will try to get things up and running again. I do apologize for Pigeon's absence.
John, just take a look at the side chat for a second.
It's the fun of live TV.
It's live, people.
Well, there's Pigeon. Next one has been invited on. We're waiting now.
All I can say is invite Robin to help fill time.
Yeah, that would be great. I'm gonna.
I've got Robin in Skype. If
Yeah, just send them the link.
Yeah, I'll send him the link.
Well, Pigeon's.
I do apologize again for the technical difficulties. I normally am not this incompetent.
You are this incompetent. Everyone has so far has been spaghetti.
This is only the second stream, so people are going to judge you on this alone.
Pigeon, you need to be vocal and tell them if you're waiting for them, they've only got a certain amount of time. We can't wait indefinitely. They have to be ready.
Ah, here we go.
Oh, here we go.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
How's it going?
Pretty good. We apologize for technical difficulties, and we're sorry for the wait. What's on your mind on Gamergate?
Well, let's see. Right now, honestly, I'm a little actually disappointed with it because it's been kind of torn apart by the whole drama that's been happening with the whole King of Pole incident. And I have started to come to notice that there are a lot of people kind of want to distance themselves from that, and I don't blame them. I mean, there's no way that that's going to kill the movement because it's still a bunch of anonymous individuals. But the fandoms, the cliques, they all need to stop. These secret Skype groups, they need to stop being a thing. We need to have this discussion in the open. Just stop. It's just becoming game journo pros, if you ask me.
If I may comment on that, I agree with the notion that we should kill celebrity culture within Gamergate. What I will have to disagree with you about Skype calls. Sometimes things do need to be taken in private. Like, for instance, if someone has an issue with somebody else, that really shouldn't go public.
No, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I think the issue is people think there's this giant chat group or Game Journal's Pro Gamergate version of that, where everyone discusses and then they decide, oh, this is the narrative we should push.
Well, that's
I believe
not to
the
say.
issue people is. That's what people believe is happening.
I've heard some things about those Skype groups as well, and I've heard that they actually were trying to control the Gamergate narrative. That's just what I've heard. But this is also something that we've actually wanting to kind of avoid on this stream. We kind of want to leave the drama llama stuff out. But yeah, it is a concern that most of us have on here.
Okay. Yeah, one other thing I'd like to add on, the beauty of this movement is even if we do have this cabal on Twitter or Skype or any location where these people try to control the narrative, it's since we're still an anonymous and leaderless movement, the group, the masses, the rank and file can still look at what these people want us to do and just outright reject it and then pitch their own ideas and those get accepted.
I agree. That's definitely what I'm hoping a lot of people are doing, and it looks like they're kind of doing it, but it also kind of looks like a lot of them need a reminder because there have been some fandoms. I've noticed some Ask.fm pages like Irbrise's being flooded with questions about, like, how nervous were you on the stream, what were you talking about, stuff like that, and even I asked, like, what was going on because I was curious why this is even an issue, and honestly, it shouldn't be, but keep in mind that even with Anon, cliques can still form, and that's something that I would definitely like to see avoided, but I think that people are going to avoid it because we're all smart. We're all wising up to the idea that, hey, maybe people like King of Pole shouldn't be guiding the narrative or, you know, taking taking to their streams to, basically have an inquisition against people who have been doing so much for the movement.
Yeah, this is a free market of ideas, so it's basically up to the people to decide what we do. There's no one group that can take control.
I actually have just uploaded a video on that sort of thing. Would it be alright if I secure that?
Yeah,
Alright.
put it in the link and we'll put it in the YouTube chat as well.
Alright.
Yeah, let me do that for you.
It's really off the cuff. I mean, I was sort of reading off of a script, but I try to kind of keep it off the cuff. It was I really wanted to get it out there fast while it was still relevant.
To the guys in the chat, if you want to come on, there is a protocol. You have to DM, well, you have to follow either John or Pigeon, depending on who's dead or not.
No, I'm here.
We have Pigeon.
Oh, he lives!
Hey, I've been here for a while. I've just been moaning in the side chat.
Well, that's really useful.
Pigeon! I'm gonna
Actually,
Okay,
They're going to have a conversation later in the back.
Yes. You were saying, sorry, my apologies. You were saying, sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Catastrogue, you can call me Nick.
Okay, you were saying, Nick?
Well, actually, there's something, I was talking to somebody from the movement who I had just added on Skype, and this person was actually brought up an interesting point. Let me sort of bring it up here. The thing is that, like, even if you phase out the way the movement is shaped, you're just going to have another wave of non-leaders pushed to the forefront. Like, basically, there's going to be a new king of pole eventually. If Cloud.
I agree, but that's also why we've been, or at least that's why we have been trying to push these streams out where we constantly bring guests in. It shouldn't be about one specific person or a small group. We should openly bring in anybody that is willing to come on.
I appreciate that you're doing that. I really do.
I mean,
it's like a great job for the movement. You might not get 10,000 views, but you're doing a part that I think is far more helpful to the movement than any of those silly little streams King of Pole is doing. But anyways, if you want to drop that drama, we can discuss something else.
Well, yeah, I'd like to ask you a question that I'm going to be asking all the guests during this stream. It's the same question. What do you think Gamergate needs to do to be more efficient, or what do you think they need to do to push onward and be more successful?
Well, honestly, although the answer seems to be clear as day, it's also something I've been asking myself. What I think it should be doing is just sending the emails and ignoring the shill tactics and getting the word out there. I mean, there's a operation that was posted on Get Good that involves like talking to people, like neutrals, kind of convincing them that you're not all misogynist. We're not all, but that's one part of it. But the movement is already quite big, so as long as people keep morale, sending the emails and such, so on and so forth, is pretty much good enough. But the thing is, a lot of people seem to be bored of that, I guess. And honestly, it sounds like a very easy tactic, but I mean, if people can't even remember to, say, send emails, or, well, not so much can't remember, but not stay on that task and have decided to start getting into these cliques and talking about streams. I've avoided most of these streams, by the way, like most of the big ones from like the likes of Sargon and Pole and such, so on and so forth. It's kind of led me to wonder, is that enough? Is sending emails, is boycotting advertisers really enough? Is morale boosting, is signal boosting, is that enough to really get, like, it's clearly enough to bring down Kotaku, because a lot of advertisers have pulled out, but is it really enough to keep people from moving away from that goal? Because I think people might want something more immediate. That's just me, though.
Yeah, I think that there's a different people in the movement have different kinds of end goals. Like Jenny Barrage, for instance, she said that all she wants is an apology. Other people like Roguestar go as far as to say that burn the whole thing down. What I think we need, though, however, is real journalistic reform that is shown not just by an edict of a new ethics policy, but also in practice. We need that trust reestablished, and that to me is what this movement is about, reaffirming that trust between ourselves and the journalists. And currently, right now, there is no way to do that at the present time, and it's going to be a slow process.
How do you think we will be able to do that, though, if they're having like this PR blitz with us?
Just shine a light of truth in the face of lies, basically, for that, because the PR blitz are just hit pieces. Their attacks against us aren't a counter-argument to what we're saying. They're more of, shifting the goalpost to something else. And the things that they were talking about don't really have to do with Gamergate. They're either larger issues or even imagined issues.
Well, do you think we can like push sites like, say, Tech Raptor, Games Nosh, Niche Gamer to like, say, the limelight and sort of shift out these larger ones that have clearly been twisted by lack of ethics and by forming relationships and politicizing the hobby?
Pushing other sites that have come out in response to Gamergate over the ones that were already there. I would agree with that. The only problem there is that these new websites have come out. They're not having as much traction. So if that happens, that would be a good thing. But we're going to have to wait over time for that to happen. In the meantime, keep promoting them. Keep on saying, hey, you know what? There's all these bad sites over here, but there are sites with integrity over there, and we should be visiting those sites and stop paying attention to these sites over here.
Yeah,
that would be a policy.
Yeah, Rome wasn't built in a day, so all we can do is just keep propping up the good sites as we take down the older, corrupt ones.
Or, in this case, Rome wasn't built in 3 months.
Yeah. Well, I think we need to go on ahead and bring on our next guest.
Right.
We're trying to keep the segments a bit short so we can get everybody on, but it was great to hear from you.
Trying to get on.
Before I leave, could I get a link to the stream, like, public?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right,
Let me
one moment, please.
to the side. Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
You beat me to it.
You have a good day.
You too, man.
Yeah. Alright, we've got the next one coming on. I should be. Yep, wait. Yep, we should be having another one coming on very soon.
Chad, if you could
Yes.
advertise the stream for us so we could get as many people on as possible, that'd be great.
I've already sent a couple tweets out. Plenty of people have retweeted them. I apologize that to 3 people that I told were queued next. They might not actually be next because Pigeon was being a derp and I was trying to step in, and that was apparently a mistake on my part because I guess because Pigeon was busy and we assumed that he went MIA. So
I was here. I was just actually sorting out the queue in a notepad. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no worries. I do
Literally
apologize for the
happened.
guests that I said were going to come on in a certain order. That order may or may not be the case. You will get on, just not right away. I do profusely apologize for that.
Pigeon is Hitler.
It's
Pigeon
true.
confirmed
buy
for
me a-
Nazi.
If you want my secretary skills to improve, go donate to my Patreon.
Yeah, his patron is Spastic Pigeon. Oh wait, no, that's not good.
Alright,
Alright.
our third guest is saying give me a few minutes because that's helpful. So shall we just invite on the fourth?
Yeah, invite the switch 3 and 4 around.
Okay. Alright, that looks like fourth. Alright. And
Is Sargon's stream still going?
no.
No,
Um,
Oh, there you go. Let's see if we can invite Sargon.
No,
Oh, no.
I'm not adding
You will have to be
Sargon
queued
onto
just
a
like
queue.
everyone else.
I'm
Yeah,
not
No
doing
jumping the
that.
line.
I know. We have due process here.
No, we have people that don't get a voice regularly.
Yes,
yeah,
there is
true that. I apologize.
Alright, fourth link has been sent out, just to let you guys know. Just waiting on that person. That will be a dark raven, apparently. I didn't know ravens were dark. I think that's racist.
Oh
Please-
yeah, Dark Raven from the chat. I've spoken to.
Please, guys, if you do want to come on, be prompt. Have the hangout ready, you know, or
And also,
a tab ready.
And please remember, be patient. When there's a lot of people queued, you've got to kind of assume that it's going to take a while until you are, next in line.
Yeah,
I believe we're
up to-
number 3 at the moment, and there's about 10 people queued.
Yep,
Feel
one.
free to message me. I'll put you into that queue. Just know that you will be probably an hour or so. until
And
you
also,
actually
one more
get on.
apology I have to make before we continue. I put in the wrong information due to technical difficulties. I
Fucking
again
idiot.
profusely apologize.
Oh boy. I'm thinking we should just invite 2 or 3 people at a time and just have the later 2 muted, so that way we have people queued up within the chat itself. Instead
Yes,
of just
Pigeon,
1,
please
2.
do that. Send a couple more invites and tell them to mute their mics, so that way we have time for one guest at a time.
All right.
So that way we
So-
don't have all this dead air. Yeah. All right.
So I think we have Dark Raven in here. Is that who's in here?
Indeed. Hello.
Hello,
Hello.
Dark Raven.
First off, Pigeon, I got told to call you a shitlord. That isn't my
Who's
words.
that from? Who's this from? I need to go and fight them.
Steve Tom Sawyer told everybody to call you that, basically.
God damn it, Steve.
So I'm sorry I was the first one to call you a shitlord.
That's okay, man.
You won't be the last.
I will forget your transgressions if you cross my palm with silver or shekels.
Or Call of Duty.
So yeah, I'm basically pretty new to this Gamergate stuff. I've been following it for a fair while, but I've never really, until recently, chosen where I actually sit. I do believe that Gamergate, it's so unpersonalized. It feels like how I ended up making my decision was by going by my actual experience with fellow gamers, like being told that these guys are in support of mental illness, and then them coming out with saying a lot of stuff bad about gamers, to me hit a hard point because I have bipolar, and gamers who I know have never taken issue with that. So I believe that is probably a bad point of, it seems too unpersonalized, just always about the ethics, which isn't a bad thing, but being too unpersonal could be a bad thing.
So, do you think that in the course of the discussion, there's a certain lack of empathy involved with certain parties?
I don't know if it's a lack of empathy. I think it's more a case of maybe people haven't thought about it in a certain way, as to, we're so hard driven on this ethics policy, which is definitely fair, but it seems like there may have been an oversight of the fact that people are having personal experiences with it as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's asking us to pay attention to the people who are being affected on this on a personal level, like the harassment, the threats, the doxing.
Yeah. And also just like if you're trying to reach out to people instead of constantly going for this hard driven all about ethics, which again I do say is fair enough because it is wrong.
I think I get. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
No problem.
I think I get what you're getting at is like a lack of understanding of people's positions of what they really think and maybe even feel about the issues, like a lack of emotional intelligence, so to say.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, I can put on here. I think part of the issue is this is the internet, so you're much less likely to have empathy toward a block of text than actually meeting the person in real life, getting to know them and seeing their issues. That's probably one of the other things. The big reason why we're so stuck on the ethics in journalism is that is still the crux of Gamergate. It's about ethics in journalism. It sounds like a broken record at this point with everything else that's going on, but we want that to be what we're still talking about tomorrow, the next week, the week after, and not be sidetracked by social issues. since, in our opinion, that's what the opposition is trying to do, derail what we want to talk about.
Yeah, I get that. I was just meaning more for trying to bring new people in, rather so.
Yeah, I understand. We have to show empathy to them to show that, we're human beings and we're just not an autonomous monster.
Yeah, and to also clarify on the position of empathy, I think it's less to do with it's not so much empathy. I think it's understanding, really. For instance, on another stream show I'm doing, Robot Pigeon Panda, we have one guest we have a guest for an hour, and we're trying to get different perspectives on the issues and get their opinions. And we had an anti-Gamergate person on last show, and he was willing to talk and quite reasonable. And I think we need more voices like that to interact with in order to get a clear picture of things. Because, as one person described, we each have a picture to the puzzle, and we just need to piece them together, basically.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, we just can't say if they're anti-Gamergate, we automatically treat them as invalids and just disregard everything they say, because they might have a voice on something we're doing that normally we'd overlook.
Yeah,
that would still be helpful to us.
If I may ask, maybe you already answered this, but right now, where do you think Gamergate is? Do you think that we're succeeding, we're making strides, we're winning, or do you think that there are certain things that need to be addressed, or what is your position on the overall standing at the moment?
I do think that we've definitely that things have definitely been brought to light that haven't necessarily been brought to light before, which is always good movements. I do believe that, unfortunately, the traditional media, as in BBC News for Britain and such have always based it on how Gamergate started, which is maybe to a degree why it seems like we're shackled to the beginnings of Gamergate, which is unfortunate.
I don't see how that's a bad thing, because the beginning of Gamergate was, just ethics and journalism. You had the prelude to Gamergate, which was the conspiracy, but beyond that...
Yes. A lot of people see the prelude to Gamergate as the beginning to Gamergate, and that's kind of a problem, but that's always been something that's been debated, and obviously Five Guys Burgers and Fries is not Gamergate.
No.
Right. So what do you think we should do to move forward or be more efficient?
To move forward, I think it's just reiterating the point I said earlier about if you want to bring people into it, talking on a level of how we have been affected by this, as well as the ethics, bring it both in, state how you have been affected yourself and the ethics of it all.
Mike, I have one question. If you're an Englishman, aren't you, or
Indeed,
from the
yeah.
UK? Yeah. This is a question I'm going to ask most English guests, or British, or from the UK. If we'd have been in charge of Gamergate, this would have been over 2 months ago, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Americans can't run shit.
God damn it.
Bloody colonial.
You never know. We've got Emma Watson to deal with now.
Alright.
Leave Hermione out of this.
Pigeon, go on ahead and bring on the next guest while we finish up with Raven here.
I have already messaged them, and I am looking for someone else who's supposed to be third, who shut the bed, and they want me to have them on Google Plus because they want to make my life even harder.
Oh, the troubles of being a secretary.
Yeah, we don't need your personal drama there, Pigeon.
Donate to my Patreon, I'll get some.
So, Raven, your big thing is that we need to somehow work on bringing more people into Gamergate. Is that something that is that your viewpoint?
I do believe we do. I do a lot of mod development and such, and I follow a lot of mod developers as well, and I keep seeing them talking about how it just seems like they don't care. And I think that is because it isn't. They keep just spouting the fact that they keep taking the piss out of the ethics, basically, and it has become a laughing point, unfortunately.
Yeah, Gamergate has not. Gamergate's not focused right now. They've got so many things that that we're trying to do, and then there was the whole tangent of going off and the whole feminism and Digra and stuff like that. And while it may not be a conspiracy, it's still going away from the initial just the journalist sites. And I think we just need to be a little bit more focused on what we're doing.
Yeah, definitely.
I can definitely see from the outsider's opinion how, they'd say, why does this matter? It's video game journalism. Most people would just brush it off because you have to remember, people thought video game journalism was a joke before it got really corrupted. So it's basically just dealing with previous perceptions.
That's basically my opinions on it, but thank you for having me on.
All right, yeah, no problem, man.
You're welcome anytime.
Cheers.
Have a good night.
So, Pigeon, who is our next guest?
Well, here's the problem. A lot of people on fucking Twitter don't have the same name as they do on this fucking thing.
Pigeon, may I make a recommendation? DM them the link to the Hangout directly. It shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, I know. These people need me to have them on Google Plus off the fucking time. It's a bit annoying. Anyway, Ahido is our next guest.
Yeah, hello. I have been before on the Robin stream. Maybe some of you have remembered me.
I do.
I do recognize you.
Yeah. Basically, I tweeted that I wanted to talk about the word "shoe" itself and how people use it. I remember that some of you said already that there are 4chaners, so I guess you understand that properly, but there are many people that don't, including Sargon. He is not someone that really understands 4chan at all. People call him Poe all the time, but he says he can't even write in a 4chaner site. And, what? Is everyone listening or something?
Yeah, we're hearing you.
Yeah, because everyone is muting themselves and muting something, strange.
Oh, I apologize. I had to handle something on Twitter. I was listening though.
Yeah, we're all listening. We're just muting ourselves so you don't hear our mics overlapping on yours.
Okay.
It's not true. John doesn't actually care.
So basically, if we go back to 4chan itself, let's take a look at the word like faggot. When you say faggot, most people understand a gay person, but when it's said in 4chan, no one even implies usually something gay. It just implies that you're saying or you're part of, or you like something that they don't like or something. They basically are carrying you on your bullshit because, they think that's bullshit. For example, if you like show X, they will call you X faggot. Or if you like show Y, they will call you Y faggot.
Yeah, and in terms of this, actually, there's a different terminology in terms of the use of fag and faggot. Faggot is the one where it's the suffix where you add it to any interest or group that part of, like a new fag, anime fag, Nintendo fag, Sony fag, that sort of thing. It's when you faggot still has a negative connotation, but it doesn't mean someone's sexual orientation. It basically just means you're a bad person or an idiot in terms of 4chan terminology.
Yeah, on 4chan, basically everyone is faggot, especially the op. Everyone's so faggot that, basically people are so fucked that they love each other, and this is the reason they call fuck. There's that joke also. Or, they may call you a drone, or on pod they will call you a Jew or something. People just like to throw these words, and usually they don't have much of a meaning, except that they just don't agree with you or think you are an idiot or a retard for saying something.
Yeah, I agree. It's basically, it just comes down to if you agree or disagree with someone, and the word in normal space or how you normally use it doesn't apply on 4chan.
Yeah.
So it
And-
basically the definition changes.
Yeah, and the word chill is basically the Gamergate of that. People just like to throw it. It went a little out of control, really.
It doesn't
Especially-
mean what it initially means. It's now just
No.
a general term that's used.
Yeah, I mean the reason on 4chan it's so negative is because there has been corporations like Electronic Arts who has tried to do viral marketing on V and 4chan as a whole. So that's why they're extremely resistant to anyone who's paid to post a message there. It's because people have done that in the past.
Yeah. Basically, that's just pretty much what I wanted to say. The
Well,
chill thing is not really that important. It doesn't imply a lot for most
Yeah.
people. Some
Right.
people, the newer people or the new fags, if I may say so, just some of them are very confused about it and take it a lot more seriously than it really is.
Yeah, Chan culture is something you experience more on trial by fire. There are a few sites that can try to explain it, but it's one of those things you have to learn by experiencing it, unfortunately. And then-
And that also includes the so-called e-celeb drama, because on 4chan we have been dealing with trip facts, especially for many years, and we have been calling them, attention horse and etc. And we just don't like them, we ignore them or shit on them, and we have never cared that much about it. And what is happening right now, even if it's right, if it's not really that big of a problem, and people that come from 4chan understand that they really don't care that much, but some of the newer people see it as something that may really bring down Gamergate down, which is absurd. It's simply absurd.
Yeah,
Right.
it basically has to do more with the issue of identity. Actually, in the beginning of 4chan, there have been like trip fags and anonymous, but there wasn't such a shift toward anonymity being almost worshipped, and people who decide to choose to have a name or trip code just being completely villainized, as opposed which is basically what's been happening recently. And then
Right. And
yeah, if I can add to the shill accusation. Every time I looked into these shill accusations, all of them have been unfounded. It's just within Gamergate. There are certain people who do have some ulterior motive for being here, but at the core, they're not really exploiting the issue for personal gain. They may be exploiting their own platforms and their own jobs for that, but that's just the business they work in. They haven't been using the Gamergate brand, as you will, to sell products or whatever. So I have not found, for me personally, I have not found anyone to actually be a shill.
Right, and as we finish up, as we have to move on to another guest, I'm going to ask you the same question. What do you think Gamergate needs to do to be efficient and to move forward?
Well, I personally think that the things that we have done so far they have good results, and we should continue just doing that and just do it more and more. More people should do it, that not just the one that you're doing right now, because I really not sure how many people are actually sending emails and stuff like that. The number should be a lot more. Like someone said, if all the people that are on Twitter right now, pro Gamergate, if all could send emails or something like that. I understand that it's not something that everyone can do. It's not good at, but the more do it, the better it is. So, but there's also something else. I have been following SGWs way before Gamergate. I haven't really been following journalism, the gaming journalism stuff very much. I have never been interested in that bullshit. I have seen it as bullshit from day one. But I also have this a little more extremist, or a little strong words, probably not, but just to shut down SGWs as them. We don't even have to talk about Gamergate if we can just have someone else to talk about SGWs themselves on television, so people can hear about them or something like that. without being connected to Gamergate or just talking about their tactics and stuff. I think that is something that can be very positive.
All right, yeah. And we have to move on to our next guest, but it was really nice to have you on.
Yeah, sure.
And we
Yes,
can
thank
bring
you
you
for
on
coming on
again.
tonight.
All right, Pigeon. Who's the next one up?
It is Nadoka, because that's a good British name.
Very funny. Anywho.
What's on your mind?
What has blown my mind is the sheer fact that one day everyone's getting along just fine in the whole Gamergate spiel, say for a bit of infighting here and there, and all of a sudden we are beginning to have, and then all of a sudden King of Pole comes out with this stream, spouting conjecture left and right, saying that Monday Matt is working with this guy and Rogue is working with that guy. And quite frankly, I'm just confused about it all.
Right. We definitely don't agree with the way he came out with a lot of this, and we're still unsure exactly what has been going on. So we can't exactly make accurate statements based on what we've seen so far, I think.
A lot of this stuff has actually very little to do with Gamergate on the whole. It's really to do with the personalities inside Gamergate, that's all.
I have to agree with that, because I think we need to kind of get away from the e-personalities to begin with, and I don't think any of this would have been a problem.
Well, Robin, do you want to address that question then? Because you're probably in the best place to do so.
Oh my god, then we're all in trouble.
Yep.
Well, as I said, I was actually going to come on and speak to you guys a little earlier, but of course I got dragged out by a Skype call. I was just having a chat with Pole and a few other people, Paladin as well. We've had some people who have come under fire after this sort of list of accusations. I haven't actually had the chance even to go and watch Pole's stream in the first place. So I do know, obviously, myself and Serb were parties to this information. There is this sort of agents of balance business, which seems to be sort of where this all started. From what I understand, this is people just being childish. And we really need to sort of grow a little out of this. Let me assure you all that, as you've seen from the previous stream, we've had obviously a lot of argument and a lot of people throwing mud at each other. Well, that was a good thing, because now that the mud has been thrown, everyone's basically going to relax a little about it all. Because when it comes down to it, a lot of this has been built up from tensions and people not really talking to each other properly, or at all.
Yeah. Mainly, I'm not really much of a fan of what King of Pole actually did, and to be honest, I actually did tweet later after his stream that I didn't think really that the celebrities or e-celebs of Gamergate really were of any. They were any different. They were never really any different from the rest of us. They were just louder voices supporting smaller voices.
Well, as I said, it's all voices.
Loud.
It's all sides here being childish. It's not just, like I said, everyone needs to just, now that they've actually blown their tops, that means that the pressure is now off.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think this was actually a positive aspect. I'm a bizarre human being that I can look at a dark cloud and think, oh, right, well, at least the plants are going to be watered.
True.
And when it comes down to it, this has been somewhat of a tense situation over the last month or so. This has sort of obviously come to a head, and I'm hoping that everyone can sort of at least sort of now that they've vented their spleen, we can get back onto it. As far as the most important things are concerned, we all know what needs to be done. Emails, but there are other plans in motion that we're trying to get together. And now that this has actually basically exploded, it means that we can get back to actually doing that rather than basically talking about who said what to who.
Yeah,
And,
this is just basically a general distraction. Just keep focusing on the emails. Just keep sending them.
And I think Gwen has something to say about this. Gwen, what's on your mind?
First, sorry for interrupting earlier. That was rude of me. And I just wanted to say the only thing is that these people are very loud, and most of them don't really support the smaller voices. I'm just going to say that. But what really needs to happen is we just need to do regular events like this, bring people on, let them talk, and make this a thing. And that will help diffuse some of what's been going on and building up. And I don't really think it's the louder voices' fault necessarily that there's a bajillion people following them, and a lot of them have sort of a mob mentality where if they say, "Oh, look, this person looks like they may be vaguely doing something I don't like to the person I like. Let's attack them. Let's jump." And that's sort of what's going on.
Yeah, what the thing I think about that is that, to be honest, we actually all of us came from different cultures, different nationalities, religions, different types of genres. To be honest, I'm more of a simulation and realism kind of guy. But to be honest, I actually will agree. I actually do agree with the fact with multiple facts of multiple people in Gamergate. However, the thing is that I honestly don't like seeing the whole Gamergate collage or group of people just infighting. I understand, like Robin said, we needed to blow our top and let all the pressure out. That's exactly right. Now that, like you said, now that it's out, we can focus on what's important.
Yeah, you also have to remember this isn't major infighting of the organization as a whole. It's just a few people who have voices that are duking it out, so we let them do that, but all the rank and file don't even care about this and just want us to get back to work. So as much as people might want this to be an issue, it's not. It should just be something brushed aside and we keep focusing on what matters.
Yeah.
So, Nadoka, what do you think Gamergate needs to do to be efficient or to move forward?
To be honest, we need to start focusing on our goals. We already know that the social justice warriors are already starting to somewhat lose steam. They're starting to, as some people said, lose their marbles because of all the crazy statements they've said about us, and the fact that they have lack of morals for the deceased, morals for their existence is an irony. I mean, look at what happened with that with the 4chan shooting. The guy from 4chan posted the body or something, posted something about killing a lady, and they ended up happening. Think about that. They go ahead and use that body and use the incident to blame Gamergate. That is not okay. That is never okay to use the name of the deceased or use an incident where people die to better your movements. That is never okay.
Well, yeah, and they did. It was less about Gamergate, I think, and more about, see, this is why we should be afraid of websites that have, like, Chan in the name, 4chan, 8chan. I know Brianna Wu mentioned Gamergate in her post, but Zoe Quinn didn't mention Gamergate in her post, I don't think. But it was more directly toward places like 4chan. But since we're so associated with those sites, it's an easy way to link us together because that's what they think. That's what they think. They think we're part of 4chan.
Yeah.
Right. Is there anything else that you want to say?
One more thing. I just wanted to make sure that everyone just keep emailing. That's our main goal here is Gawker, Vox, the whole corrupt media, the corrupt journals. That's what started this thing in the first place.
Right. Now, I also want to put it in perspective that, we got to keep doing this for game devs like Daniel Vavra because he stuck his neck out for us, and we can't just fail on this because we gotta keep going for people like him.
You've got a real big hard-on for Vivera, haven't you?
I respect his game because that game looks hella fun.
I actually backed a game dev when his game was in when his game was in pre-alpha. It sort of still is. Time Symmetry made a game called Vector Thrust. It's Ace Combat inspired flight shooter game. And to be honest, I'm kind of concerned about the future. From time to time, I continue to worry about the future of the game because with the things like Social Justice Warriors and the media painting games that just are was slick wrong of what SJWs or whatever they disagree with. And they find that wrong. What concerns me is if something bad happens. That one of the games I've been waiting. It's a game like that I've been waiting for years, and I do not want to see it go down the drain. I'm sorry for stuttering. That's what I do.
Right. Well, we have another guest, Bruce Campbell, on here. We're gonna have to get to him and bring on the next guest to wait. So,
Yeah,
but it was very good to have you on.
Okay,
Thank you
thank
for coming on the show.
I'll make sure to come back sometime. Goodbye.
You're welcome anytime.
Thank you for coming by.
All right, Bruce, what's on your mind?
When kind of back to speaking publicly, I think Total Biscuit said it best when you have to remember that everyone needs a place to wind down, and that those who are constantly being scrutinized, eventually got to let off steam somewhere. Make sure you differentiate whether you're letting steam off in a place where people can misinterpret what you say, or you're just, privately talking with people that are close to you to help, deal with what happens when you have all these different eyes looking at you.
Could you clarify that for a moment?
So kind of in relation, I guess, to the idea of what was Mundane Matt talking about the name of the joke that they had going that got people up in arms. I'm sorry, the name is escaping me at the moment.
I think it was Agents of Balance, something like that.
Yeah, and the Agents of Balance, and he was saying that it was just a joke, and it was like an inside joke for people. When you have an inside joke like that, people on the outside don't get context, and so when that gets out, people are going to sit there and run with it, and it's understandable why people are upset about that, since the way that it looks to everyone else is a way that's going to end up harming the image, rather than if you just sat there and said it and talked about it maybe amongst just a few people, rather than letting it be available for a lot of people to see.
Alright, so do you want to know more about Agents of Balance? Because someone from inside just sent me a message just clarifying the TLDR of that entire thing.
If you're going to be talking about specific instances, keep it brief.
Alright. Well, this is from Achilles, i.e. Rufflecast. He's given me permission to quote him and credit him as the source. So, I said, essentially, a bunch of Matt's friends started a conspiracy to make other people look insane in reference to Agents of Balance. And Achilles replied, yeah, that's pretty much it. We were bored, got the email for Agents of Balance 1 saying a bunch of crazy bullshit, made the agents color to tweet to each other in cryptic Japanese just to play with each other, since we were being accused non-stop of being some secret Skype cabal. And it all says we're from Fukushima. So yeah, that's the TLDR. Let's move swiftly on. It's not really anything to really pay attention to. I personally think it was really harsh and it was a waste of everybody's time, but let's just move on. I don't think it's particularly relevant to Gamergate as a whole.
Yeah, to expand on like the in jokes and stuff like that, I don't think it's too much of a big issue. I think if you have a personal beef with somebody, you should do it in private. That's all I'm going to say really about that.
It's all been rather childish, and what it does is this was a crack that has been between certain people within the group that has basically gone a little bit silly, and everyone needs to grow up and calm down.
So, I think we didn't let Gwen talk back at 4:09 or whatever time, but Gwen, what do you have to say about the devs?
Oh, she's
Oh,
muted.
I just wanted to say one quick thing. I've been working with at devs of GG, and I've noticed that there are a lot of people in the movement that are aspiring devs or people that just talk about game design, and I've been doing my best to boost the image and maybe come up with like maybe we need to come up with some better images. But there are a lot of people who maybe they're not like more well-known devs, but there are plenty of devs and aspiring devs in the movement, and there's this big image about it that I've been trying to spread and get everyone to know. It's constantly being updated, and I think that all devs need support, no matter how small, even if they don't have their first project quite out yet, even if they're doing something experimental. I think we need to show them, because all of us that aren't even really in the market yet, but are, working our own way in, well, we're going to be facing an uphill battle if we lose this. All of us that have come out and that are in that image, and some that haven't made it in the image yet, we're struggling, and everyone could use a little bit of support. But when it comes to it, at the end of this, all of us that have, big or small, aspiring or not, we're kind of probably gonna take a bit of a fall if we lose this. I'm just putting that out there, and I think it's important. And we just need to. I think we need to find more ways to just give these people voices and let more people know what's going on with them.
Well,
Because they're really putting themselves out there.
I really want more of the streams that go on to kind of take on this format. I mean, it is their streams. They can do what they want with it, but I'd like to encourage these people to have more open streams and to bring more people on, because when you have the same person or the same people on, it becomes just a circle jerk or a hug box, and what good is a discussion like that? So we need
the open house is for your hug boxing, guys. There's no need to, there's no need for us all to sort of like make up the same old, same old. I'm there to basically give people a chance to talk and entertain them and stuff like that, but that's about it. And we've helped. We're a conduit for information as well. We analyze the stuff real time, all that sort of business. But as far as actually getting the serious talking done, this is not necessarily the place to do it. Obviously, we've got the carbon-based gaming thing going on, all that sort of thing. That's going to be putting out the hard-hitting, real information in a bite-sized chunk, all that sort of business. But yeah, you could do very well for yourselves. There are some chats out there where they're turning people over, and at the moment, obviously, it's the people that are willing to talk. You've also got to remember, guys, that there's a lot of people on there that don't necessarily have the gumption to be able to come onto these places and openly talk.
Right.
A lot of this gets done in chat rooms and things like that.
Right.
Question for the guest. What is your opinion on the current state of Gamergate and like where we're headed and what we've done so far?
Is that all?
No, right now I think we really need a morale boost. It's been kind of, it's been 2 months. It's been a lot of stuff. Things have come and gone in so many different ways, and it seems like a lot of people have found a lot of different ideas and things that they want to follow, and people are kind of following it. It's kind of starting to spread out, and I worry that might start to thin things out, and then people who are getting tired and can't seem to keep focus are kind of falling out, and we just kind of need something to help energize and refocus everyone.
Yeah, I definitely see where he's coming from, since most of our morale boosts come from mistakes from the opposition. So we need to figure out how to be self-sustaining and let's do things to maintain momentum on our side as opposed to waiting for them to slip up, since then it's not going to be as many tweets of Sam Biddle being pro-bullying that would get us a shot at Gawker anymore, since they're tightening their belt in that regard.
Yeah. Well, we also get a lot of morale boost from David Pakman's show. I mean, I think most of us agree that most of those interviews are very solid interviews of fair journalism. And so, fair journalism and fair exposure is another major thing I think we need. Because David Pakman's kind of the only journalist that's working to cover the story fairly right now.
I think also, I mean, what is necessarily higher, I mean, end goal is some people are like, no, we can't have discussion with it, no, there is no more discussion. Everything needs to burn to the ground. Some people want discussion. What is kind of a measurement to show, we are moving forward, we are getting our voice out, people are sending emails, and we're getting lots of responses from that. But what does it eventually aggregate to?
It all depends on how passionately the person is. Total Biscuit is very much for coming to the table, talking everything out, and I would say there are quite a few gamergators that are like that, but a lot of people are just so angry and just don't trust these sites anymore that the only way they could really trust the journalism aspect of the gaming industry is to literally just burn it to the ground.
I wouldn't say burn it to the ground, but just remove the institutions that are known to be corrupt or there is solid evidence that they are corrupt.
That seems like it would create kind of a vacuum, and where you could end up with something even worse if you ended up with only one monopolizing power coming out of it at the end.
Well, that's the whole reason why we're pushing newer, younger, and sites that don't have relationships with the publishers or developers. So we'd at least try, even though it's kind of, from the outside, it sounds questionable since it looks like we're just installing our own people, but at least these people would be accountable to their own content, and they wouldn't have, a power hole to dictate what we can say or what they can do with the developers as opposed to the current system. It's basically just, anything's better than the current system at this point since they are currently in bed with the developers, in some cases literally, and their influence is now actually altering what games they come out with or the content in it because they're able to dictate the narrative.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of interesting when some people talk about and say, oh, there's nothing wrong and there's no corruption, and talking about people and their relationships and mostly, I mean, the monetary aspect. I mean, it seems pretty straightforward, especially when you look at anything related to the stock market, what those people who are talking about it are allowed to say and do. And basically, if you do or say anything that could affect a monetary outcome that you can make gains from, you can't do it. And it sometimes seems like people almost disagree with that, and it's so it's a little bit interesting to hear.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, unfortunately, you also have to look at most of these people who are in games journalism weren't able to cut it in actual journalism or other jobs, so they're basically stuck here as the low-lying fruit, but since, journalism, they want to be the next person that breaks the next Watergate or change the world, they're going to do whatever they can to have influence. So I think that's another part, one of the issues.
Well, they got their wish, except they were the focus of the investigation rather than one to break it open.
Right. It's basically they're going to do and fight tooth and nail to keep what they have, what they think they've earned. So that's why I can see at least the people who, quote, want to burn it to the ground want to do that because they will never give up anything. Because the moment they even can see the point to us, it shows weakness.
Well, I hope that an actual SEC investigation ends up going on because I don't think anything will burn it to the ground faster than having the government shoved directly up their ass.
Which is something that Oliver Campbell is really pushing.
And me as well. We're all trying to push this forward, folks. If you have any information to do with FTC violations, anything like that, whether it's just evidence of the collusion, to email the FTC about this, or
do you have
go to their website.
Do you have like a link to it so people can instantly check it?
I think it was FTC complaints.
Also, don't forget to use the Freedom of Information Act. I don't know if it was mentioned in this stream or in Sargon. Someone pointed out that you don't even have to be a U.S. citizen to be able to use the Freedom of Information Act to request information if you're trying to find out or investigate something.
To to echo the question Dart's been asking, moving forward, how would you like to see Gamergate go in its direction in the future? Like, what would you like to see for the advancement of the cause?
I would definitely like to see kind of creation of, kind of milestones or markers that we can work for, not necessarily an end goal, but something that we can kind of show and represent to, basically say we've made progress. Here's what we've done. We've taken all this information and then we've actually done something with it. Here's a result that we can see and be proud of and show off.
So more goal-oriented and more objective-based ideals?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's interesting. I can see that viewpoint.
Yeah, I'm always been very objective, goal-oriented, trying to organize and do things. That's just always, but that's been always the way I look at and see things.
All right. Do you have any closing comments?
No, thank you for the time. Thank you for letting me talk, and hope to do this again.
It was my pleasure. Thank you for coming on.
You are very welcome, mate. Come back anytime.
Indeed.
All right, Pigeon. Who's our next guest?
Herman the German, who's in the hangout. Herman, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Thanks for having me on. Hi.
Hello.
Hello, Herman.
What's on your mind?
Well, I just wanted to touch on the streams, actually, and I wanted to say that the people like Sargon and King of Pole and those, we shouldn't hold them up like celebrities, but at the same time, these streams are giving a lot of like morale push-up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think streams like this should be done much more often. Also by those bigger figures. That's more or less what I wanted to say.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously I agree with that because that's something I've said for at least 2 weeks now, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a bit unfortunate that there are actually so little people. Nah, that's not the right word, but yeah, it's only 77 watching now, if that's correct.
Well,
that's kind of sad.
The highest we got was around I think 95, which was higher than Tuesday, so that's something.
Okay.
If we just keep at this and we make it regular and announce it ahead of time at a regular time, we'll get more people.
Yeah, you also have to realize.
Sorry, Black Knight. Let me just say something.
Okay, no
there has been a lot of hiccups with these shows due to lack of planning. We're working on making better shows in the future. So this one actually has been better than the last one already, and we're going to do more of these on a regular basis.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you for doing these. It's really cool. It's it's getting a much broader voice of Gamergate on, and I like that.
Yeah, one of the things you can't really expect from many of the sort of loud voices in Gamergate is that they have their own way of doing things. They've always had their own way of doing things. That's why they were doing that in the first place. So it is up to us, the smaller fry, to basically get this set up for ourselves. It's just the way of things. King's going to do the way King does. Sargon will do the way Sargon does. But I think Sargon's doing a lot more in this sort of vein. He's already done one of these sort of things. So it is happening.
That's where we got the idea
he did
from.
one of these. I actually spoke there too, so I was very happy he did that.
One of the reasons I started up the open house is so that everyone can have a say. To decent jazz as well, of course.
And that's absolutely great. I love it.
You're welcome, mate.
Well, we appreciate the feedback, and obviously since you're here, we're going to ask you the same question. What do you think Gamergate needs to do to push onward and to be more effective?
Well, I am thinking that this whole destroy Gawker thing, and I don't know if it's really going to happen. I mean, they are going to lose more and more readers. but they won't be destroyed. I don't think that. But what I think is that the people who are actually not bringing these social justice bullshit into the journalism, they should like create a new network where, so we have a new collected media where people can actually, I don't know.
We're working on it, bud.
Yeah, it's difficult, I know.
Yeah,
but
we're trying our best.
Yeah.
Carbon-based radio is going to do a lot with that. We're going to try and do a sort of like an NPR type thing for games journalism, so along that sort of a line. As far as I know, with Sargon and stuff like that, he has other fish to fry as well. It is to do with Gamergate, yes, but there is, of course, sort of academic circles within feminism that he is sort of helping to combat as well. When it comes to the gaming press and all that sort of business, yes, you are quite correct. What we need to do is replace these people rather than just try to kill them, because then all we basically got at the end of the day is just loads of dead bodies everywhere. We need new voices, new content to come out, so that these people become irrelevant just by their own, people ignoring them.
Yeah, exactly. You phrased that much better now. Very nice. Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you for having me here.
Bitte schön.
Danke. Very nice.
You're welcome anytime.
See ya. Have a nice.
Yeah, have a lovely time, mate.
Have a good night.
Good night.
All right, Cerberus, you've been quiet for a while now.
Cerberus, wake up!
Quieter than you think. Cerb, wake up.
You know, he could be sleeping for all we know.
Somebody nudge him.
It's okay. His robot-friendly faces brings good PR for the stream, so I welcome him here to sleep.
Having the doorman of a card is always useful. Alright. I sent our next guest an invite, but I don't think that he's there at the moment, so I'll be sending another person an invite who's apparently 15 years old. So actually, oh no, before him we've got someone quite nice. Alright, 2 secs. Let me just send that VM. Username cannot be blank. I'll go fuck yourself, Twitter. Alright,
it probably was sent, Pigeon, but Twitter's probably just being a derp.
It comes back, yeah.
Alright. There.
Trying to
So
get
Gwen,
Ben.
is there anything going on with Tabletop Gate lately, Gwen? Well, I guess Gwen's not there.
I'm here.
Oh, there you are.
I'm right here. It just takes me a moment to unmute, that's all. So, you can hear me right?
Yep.
Yeah, it looks like you're muting on and off. It looks like you might have it on push to talk or something.
No, I don't. I just mute myself on purpose and then I have to go unmute myself, that's all.
Okay.
But as far as Tabletop Gate, there's a lot of crazy stuff. There was a thread that was going about something happening in Games Workshop, and I didn't get a chance to really peruse it because it was sort of the middle of the night, and I was like, I need to go to sleep, and I'm planning on working on reading it. I have found it's kind of old news, but RPGNet is banning pro-GG discussions, but allowing anti-GG discussions, and RPGNet matters because it's the biggest website. I've actually found something really interesting recently that I need to quickly archive all of before someone decides to take it down. I'll probably do that tonight. But there's someone that posted, I guess you could call it the same kind of rhetoric we're up against on like 5 different gaming forums, and you can see how each different forum responded by reading the threads and get an idea of which ones are more or less friendly to having this ideology pushed. And of course, RPGNet was like, "Yay, this is awesome!" But yeah, we all know that. And it turned also one big thing. I made a video recently. John Mark, I think is the name, at Hate Wheels. He's been posting. He's basically the full Macintosh of tabletop, saying things like gamers trying. Gamergate is like the Nazi people trying to take the Nazi Party and reclaim it from its Nazi heritage. And I made a really snarky video about it. It's like 2 minutes long. But if I could pull up all his comments if you give me a moment to actually go load the video. But he works for White Wolf. He's one of the writer developers of their Exalted 3rd edition. And he was saying stuff like, let me just pull one up. Defending Gamergate is like setting out to reclaim the Nazi Party from its racist genocidal origins. And of course, in my 2-minute video, I have all this snarky commentary. But he's the full Macintosh of TG right now, and he works for White Wolf. He's also said crazy stuff like, hold up, maybe men should stop threatening to rape and murder women whenever someone tells him this isn't a men versus women debate. We need to have a more constructive argument. And he just responds to them saying, well, maybe men should stop threatening to rape and murder women. And it's like, what? That's totally out of context. And that totally had nothing to do with what was actually being discussed. He says a whole bunch of other things. He also says that Pac-Man is trying to make himself a GG hero while appearing impartial. Pac-Man is a parasite.
That was him.
There's one more thing he did, which I got tricked by. He said the Southern Poverty Law Center has classified Gamergate as a hate group. Does also need a member of that group on its council. Turns out that is a lie, and I added annotation and addendum to my video saying, no, that's not true. It turns out they are watching Gamergate, but they haven't actually labeled us as a hate group. But John Mark, the full Macintosh of the tabletop world, is saying that. He's also constantly talking about, at FF and literally Woo all the time. Like, you'll see him all over their comment threads. And he represents a major publisher.
So essentially, he's like John McIntosh. He's an ideologue who's far removed from reality and seeing patterns that don't actually exist, right?
Yes, and he is the developer of 3rd edition Exalted. And I liked 1st edition Exalted, and I kind of like 2nd. I'm afraid to see what's happening in 3rd.
Well, if it's being written by him, by the sounds of it, if he is the Jonathan McIntosh of tabletop, then I wouldn't expect much.
But yeah, I have a video if you want to actually just see all the images and actually have a laugh. I figured we needed a laugh, so I made the video for a laugh. But yeah, that's what he's been saying. And he's also said one more thing that I just want to mention. He said that gaming survived the Christian attacks and Satanism attacks of the 80s and 90s. It'll survive this. And I just want to say one thing in response to that. No, they're the ones that we're defending the gaming from, because they're the same social authoritarians with a different color. They want to say that, oh no, we're the heroes defending against this stuff, but they're not. We're the ones defending against it. Stop co-opting the stuff I had to live through.
Yeah, I think personally, I believe that when it comes to Christian ideologues or right-wing ideologues versus left-wing ideologues, that the right wing has toned down, well, at least from Christians have toned down considerably by comparison of what's coming out from the left in terms of things like critical theory and
You
stuff like
also
that.
have to look at the fact that we soundly defeated them, and now there's this new group that allied with us for a little while and is now attacking us, and that's really the difference in situation. When they came in, they didn't come in from a position of support. They just came in from the outside. Now we have people who backed us up to some extent coming in and now trying to attack us by replacing like demons and stuff with mahogany and sexism and women's.
So it's cyclical, you say? Like the ones who've been fighting the monsters have become the monsters?
Basically, but if you look at any movement, it will end up with these kinds of people in it if you aren't vigilant. I mean, there's a bunch of social authoritarians that started taking the libertarian mantle during the Tea Party movement and have been, when libertarianism had nothing to do with social authoritarianism at all. In fact, it was fine. It was socially do whatever you want. You know, it was libertarian, but there's a lot of people started co-opting it, and then you get people pointing and laughing at them because, like, oh, you got these people saying this thing in the name of libertarians, and that's definitely not libertarian. And it's like, it's true, they're co-opters. And if you look at the early Christian movements, you've got the rise of the televangelist, people who put on the clothing of a cause, a hobby, a political belief, a religion, whatever, and then they use it to gain power and money, using its rhetoric and its language to insulate themselves from those that would expose them.
Right. Well, we have our next guest on. If Pigeon, if you would like to introduce him.
Yes. Hello, Sky Gear. How are you?
Hello.
Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening. What would you like to talk about, Getmate?
Well, I want to talk about some about what I see is the cause of much of the infight here in Gamergate.
All right.
Well, I don't know. I see so much people that care about the PR of Gamergate, that care about how the media see us, how other people see us, and use so much energy to have a better PR. And I think it's pretty pointless because we're we're against the media. Their job is ruin PRs. Their job is getting narrative. So it's pointless to play their game.
Well, it depends on how you look at it when it comes to the PR, I think. I think that it may not be especially important to or it might be the opposite of what I'm thinking, but I might have it backwards. But it might not be especially important to companies because all we have to do is send them emails, and that they pretty much might back down to what we're against. But when it comes to individuals, PR is kind of important. But most of what we can do when it comes to individuals is simply educate them.
Yeah, but the revolt itself, the movement, I think many people I see are fighting because no, don't do that, don't say that because it will see bad on us, and they're wasting too much energy instead of, I don't know, sending emails or doing.
I think you're talking about a lot of the tone policing, like when King of Pole would do his streams, and I think he would make autistic jokes, and a lot of people didn't like that.
No, not only that. I'm more like sometimes I see things more. I don't know, more. Yes, it's a tone police, but it's to when people saying don't and don't talk to that group because it can be see bad for this group, or people are so much care so much about and how you say things and thus.
I think King of Pole got most of the tone policing, and some of it is just rather ridiculous. But I know what you mean.
Yeah. On the subject of like PR and stuff, yeah, there's PR issues that Gamergate there's PR issues that Gamergate should not be addressing. Like when it comes to tone policing, you have to be clear of what tone policing actually means. It actually refers to when it basically refers to concern trolls. Like someone makes a joke at somebody else, and then a third party not involved in any way gets involved and corrects them for their joke that on behalf of the person being the butt of that joke. And it's really ridiculous in that regard. And I agree that it mostly 99% of the time serves as a distraction rather than dealing with the real issues at hand.
Yeah, I think that. Other thing I see is so much people. Other thing I see too many people fighting for is because for the idea of shields, the idea the shield. You are a shield. You are a troll, and I think there is a simple way to spot who is actually a troll, who actually a shield. Because if someone make a claim, uh, a string claim like, oh, someone is a shield, someone do something wrong. If you're asking to give you proof, if they cannot give you proof to their claims, they are obvious shield, obvious troll.
It kind of just boils down to kind of a witch hunt in Gamergate. Everybody's just calling everybody a shill if they somehow step it out of line on something.
Yeah, but a good way to don't go in a witch hunt is asking for proof for their claims. Because someone say I don't agree with you, doesn't that doesn't mean you're a shill. But if someone saying, hey, that guy is fishy because this and this reason, I incline to believe you more for that.
Right. And so just to move this along, what do you think Gamergate needs to do to be more efficient or to push forward? Or what should we be focusing on that might benefit us?
Ah, I think Ermagate is doing a great job right now. Attacking Gawker, attacking this fucking all these trying to sorry and trying to make uh, well, what Gamergate is doing right now is great. I think that front don't need to change. What I see we need to start to doing too is start talking about the alternative media, the the other sites, the other journalist site like Niche Gamer, or I think we should do something like um, disrespectful not, but with this good sites, trying to advertise this good site to the other gamers, so
Right,
we can even more power.
we should be pushing these other review sites that have kind of come up or have been here but are not colluding or corrupt, right? We should be pushing them to a broader audience, I should say.
Yes, and I don't know. We could do like disrespectful not and doing, for example, every week a new campaign for a new site, and everyone, for example, who do art, who make fan art about that site, who do videos, YouTube video can do video about those sites. Not only site, but people like Total Biscuit, people like Boogie, that are the from the start there was pro consumer.
Right. Does anybody else have anything to add on to that?
No, I think it was well said. Um, unless someone else has any comments to say, or if our guest would like to say anything else.
Are you referring to me?
Oh, no, not you, Ben. Current guest. We'll get to you in a second.
Yeah, we're about to finish up with with
We're sorry, we didn't
Sky
get
Uh, all I need. This is all. Sorry for my English. Sorry.
Oh, it's fine, man. We get
no.
plenty of foreigners that don't necessarily speak English as a native language, so we understood you.
Pigeon.
Plenty of Americans too.
Yeah, here many people don't speak Spanish. Too.
Yeah.
I myself, I think, don't speak really good my own language.
Yeah, that's okay, and don't feel the need to apologize. That's my job. Don't worry about it.
But it was good to have you on, but we have to get to our other guest, Ben, right now, so good to have you on.
It was great having you. Feel free to come again.
Okay, thank you for all. I will practice my English for next time.
Thank you, bud.
Have a good one.
Bye.
All right, Ben, I know you've been waiting for a while now, so sorry to keep you waiting. What's on your mind, Ben?
Yeah, I haven't really slept, and that's the reason why. And I've been putting my nose to the grindstone every single day, trying to support our movement, and I'm sure everyone is aware of the drama, and I've had enough of this, and I think the difference between tone policing and shilling is there's a difference, right? Shilling seems to be getting off the point or trying to prevent people from making progress. Tone policing is getting people back on track and away from the drama. Every single minute we spend on drama is a minute we're spending not getting this shit done, and we are running out of time because people get mental fatigue of this stuff. I mean, eventually people are going to get tired of hearing about us if we don't make any more inways into this war, this public relations war. And what we need to do is not focus on petty bullshit. We need to focus on making a difference in this actual system that we have, because there's a meta game going on. I mean, if you think that these little skirmishes that we see on the ground floor, all that's going on, you're sorely mistaken. And there are other people who could lose their jobs who are AAA devs. We could have the entire this is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and there's people with large amounts of capital who are looking at us and looking at the circus, this little three-ring circus that we have. And if we can't help ourselves, if we can't make this, if we can't get our movement solidified and start getting this shit cleaned up, they're not going to support us. And what has been relayed to me is that there are some people who have been really kind of sick and tired of within the AAA industry who are sick and tired of this, but because we're making such fools of ourselves, they want to distance themselves from us as far as possible if we continue doing this kind of stuff. Separately, I don't know if you guys are aware, I posted a thing on 8chan about starting a nonprofit organization. In the nonprofit organization charter, I was trying to get some input. Obviously, people are talking more about gossip. I only have 20 replies, and yet we have 200 replies about gossip, if not more than that. And to be honest, the gossip is not important. It's bullshit. And I'm happy to try to make a resolution, but the structure of the organization I was trying to have is basically a nonpartisan, non-political organization that is just trying to be able to allow public interest research and allow people to be able to expose this sort of corruption, and even on our side. And one of the clauses that I had thought of last night before I even heard about any of this was the whole non-disparagement, also mandatory arbitration, mandatory transparency, accountability. And these are all things that we all need to be thinking about. And basically, I hope that the Constitution is going to be sufficiently strong so that it will not ever be able to be co-opted, and it is there as a vehicle to get us where we need to be. If you want to compare different types of movements, everyone laughs at Occupy now. Occupy is not serious. If you go talking about how you're going to bring down Wall Street with an Occupy protest, they'll laugh at your face. The Electronic Freedom Foundation, you don't see them banging their drums or making fools of themselves. They have teams of lawyers, and they have activists behind teams of lawyers. And when people try to fuck with them, like with SOPA or PIPA, every single internet company out there steps up to the plate and says, give money to the EFF because they're going to deliver the smackdown on these people. And this is where we need to be moving. We We need to move away from the petty e-celebrity bullshit, and everything needs to be about what action items need to be taken, what opportunities exist, what steps need to be taken. That's it. That's all I have to say.
Well, I think most of us agree with you on pretty much a lot of that. Most of it, at least.
I would say that I would agree with it too. We need
Yeah.
to like kill the celebrity culture mindset that we've had in this subculture, and we can recognize that people have more prominent voices and have a bigger platform to speak. But we also have to recognize that it comes down to the power of individuals, not the power of like a leader, quote unquote.
Well,
No, the leaders just facilitate. Leaders are facilitators of these people. Without you, the leaders don't exist. The only reason why that the leaders can exist is because of you guys, right? And so if you guys don't support King of Pol, you don't support Internet Aristocrat, then they have no power. If we don't support Gamma Sutra and we don't support Kotaku, they have no power. The fact is that we need to drive home accountability, and we need to drive it home with both the carrot and the stick. We need to come to them saying we are willing to help you improve the industry, and if you're not willing to improve, you're going to be pushed aside. And so in the sense of self-preservation, please be on the side of justice. That's it.
And you said you were coming up with the non-profit organization. Is there a specific place that people can visit to check out anything that you've worked up, or
Yeah,
what do you have?
It's nerdparty.net. I have an entire server I set up 2 weeks ago with like everything that we would need as a community, like everything that we need to do, legal research, document repository, wiki type leaks, everything like that has already been done. It's been done for 2 weeks.
Okay, this is actually the first time that I've heard of it. Have you been telling people?
Yeah, I mean, yes, I've been telling people, but the fact is that I am not an internet personality. I don't care to be an internet personality. You know,
And there's
you guys think that. I mean,
You know.
I'm not sure if you guys know, but you know how Intel pulled their ad? That's because I have a lot of friends at Intel. I happen to, if you guys want, I can show you, I guess, some Reddit posts where I was kind of raging about this woman at PR I met on the Max, which is our little train here, and how I talked to her and how she said that we'll never have a civil society unless we're free of men, and that kind of outraged me. And I am working on the Real Sense development project, and in essence, I went to my boss, and my boss is one of the original Intel employees. He invented this VHDL, which is a programming language for hardware. He invented it, right? Like I know I have an acquaintance who's the president of business innovation at Intel, and you guys think that your little emails are enough? They're not enough. We need concerted lobbying efforts. We need to have organizational structure. We need to have power, and we need to wield it effectively.
The only thing I can really say to that is create your own group and then bring in the competent people to represent them. And as long as it does extremely good work, that the rank and file will more than likely give their support to you. I mean, you just can't go in and say, you know, well, this is how we're doing things. I know you don't like saying the leaders, but you want to be a
I agree.
Yeah, it's about pitching to the masses. That's all you can really do, and see if they bite. Because
I'm willing to teach people. I'm telling you, I'm willing to teach you people how this works, how to do it. I mean, I put some things about how I wanted to teach open source code. And you know what? There's really a lot of open source code things out there if you really want to learn. If you really need some help and you're struggling and you're trying to work on some software project for Gamergate, get a hold of me. I'll try to help you fix your bugs, okay? I think what I guess I need to do is teach you guys how to lobby effectively and how to get this done. Because I ran for office, and the first time I ran for office, I was all idealistic. You know, I was a part of the Occupy movement because I wanted to get Wall Street out of government. You know, just like all the rest of you guys feel the same way probably, right? But the fact is that once I actually ran for office and I got to understand the nature of the beast that we're dealing with, it enlightened me. You know, I'm an engineer and I'm not a politician, but it's a different thing altogether.
If I can interject,
Yeah.
Robin did have something to say, but he was kind of cut off. And then I have a question for you. Robin, you're up.
Well, I was actually saying that as Ben had actually got this sort of thing sorted out, we are a lot of us in the background trying to get something organised here. You remember Ollie's stream as well, which Ben was on. We are trying our best to get everybody to sort of get on board. Mainly, the issue is, of course, is we've had all this crap going on, and all of these shitstorms basically distract from what we're trying to do here. So we have to sort of, every time this happens, it's like basically the wind blowing open our window. Instead of us writing our book, we now have to go over to the window and close it. Otherwise, it just blows paperwork everywhere. So it is more important now for us to actually get a calm face on this, and for us all to take it easy and to get and work together on more serious mottos. The other problem, of course, is that we are indeed herding cats here. There are a lot of people out there that are, well, they enjoy all of this brouhaha.
And you know what? I think one of the issues is that the environment in which we find ourselves is mostly 8chan, Infinity Chan, and that lends itself to a Chan culture. And it's not that I have a problem with Chan culture, because you're free to do Chan culture, but Chan culture does not get the shit done. Right.
It doesn't. Yeah, I've seen how people try to use, use the, what would be the word? Yeah, well, they just talk like they're posting on 4chan or 8chan when they're addressing public, trying to get public outreach. That does not work. That does not work at all, and I can tell you from seeing people do it, any reception they get is just completely, they fall flat on their face. It's kind of embarrassing to see them do that.
I mean, if you want lulz, Chan culture is great, but what we don't need is lulz. We need work and we need results.
Right.
If I can ask a question, when you mentioned nerdparty.net, that sounds like Gamergate.me and some stuff that Margaret Gell has been working on hard on. Would that coincide? Would that be to go along? Would nerdparty.net go alongside something like Gamergate.me?
The reason why I chose nerdparty.net was so that I was not appropriating the term Gamergate. Because I know that people don't want me to represent them as their leader, and at the same time, the issues that are with Gamergate is larger than Gamergate. It is not just Gamergate; it's Atheist Plus. It's all sorts of things, right? And so, a couple of years ago, I tried to start a nerd party because I was getting sick and tired of my Democratic Party not believing in science, specifically health science, and I started this project, and I didn't get very far in legislature. I tried to get an internet voting bill through legislature, and it didn't go. And so this is a website that I've had for a while, and I'm happy to give it away to a 501c3. I'm happy to not even be on the board of the 501c3. To be honest with you, I don't care. The fact is that the work needs to be done. It doesn't matter who does it. It doesn't matter who's leading it. It just needs to be done.
Are you like possibly how do I formulate this question? Are you going like your reach sounds a little bit beyond Gamergate. Like it seems to be going to a lot of political stuff and a lot of social science stuff, which is all important, and I probably agree with some of it. Do you think that might be a little bit too much far to ask on behalf of Gamergate to like act on these matters, or do you think
I'm not asking Gamergate to act on these matters. I have kind of reformatted it. It is now the Nerd Party Center for Inquiry. It is a 501c3 meant for public interest research to advocate the accountability, transparency, and education in public discourse. That's it. There's no politics involved with it anymore. It's a 501c3. 501c3s cannot be political. What I want it to be done is I want the ability to allow people to both have the access to resources so that if they need to get a Freedom of Information request and they're broke, that they can get that Freedom of Information request done. We can delegate, we can task manage, we can send emails, we can be a proper lobbying organization.
Yeah, if you want to, I know people that can set that up. More power to you. I can't guarantee that the whole movement would be behind you, but all I can really say is just do whatever you think is necessary to try and get it working, and if you can find like-minded people to be trained, to be part of this organization you're building, that would be great.
Yeah, and let's start by getting people to pay attention to the issues and away from the drama, And if you have any input on the charter, please give me the input on the charter. I will be tomorrow setting it up. I will be setting up the 501c3. I need to have people on a board of directors who I think are competent and who are level-headed and are not going to torpedo our image.
Do you have a link or something for this, or?
Oh, I mean, it's an 8chan. And I also have one that was on Kotaku in Action. But as you know, with 8chan, you can like refresh things, and with Kotaku in Action, just kind of go stale.
Right. I'm just wondering, what's the name of it, so I can post the link in the YouTube chat so people can look at it.
There it is in the YouTube chat. I would like to have your input on the charter because your input is important. Okay. I need people who are leaders to be stewards. And you know, when something like this happens, don't just shit on the entire movement. Come to us. We'll look to see if we can do an internal investigation and try to look at and arbitrate these things instead of accusing people of being liars. Whether or not they're liars, I don't know because I don't have the evidence. Or accusing people of being shills or whatever, because it's just going to tear the movement apart. If someone fucked up, they need to be accountable for that fuck up. If I fuck up, I need to be accountable for that fuck up. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, in terms of the whole, the wording of shill, that's basically now just a defense mechanism for anyone who disagrees with what you're doing at this point. There's really not much we can do since the word's been kind of co-opted to mean that. If it's like, oh, you disagree with me, you must be part of the opposition because you know this will damage you.
Well, all right.
These sort of people don't necessarily think about what's going on here. They read between the lines before even actually reading the actual text.
Right. They assume that it's going to fit whatever narrative they already have in their head, so they're going to be fitting it for that.
Okay. To swing this back around on topic, what would you suggest doing for? What would you suggest Gamergate would do to advance itself forward in the pursuit against corrupt and biased journalism in the games media?
What we need to do is we need to focus on Freedom of Information Acts to get the email correspondence to people that we have in our dossier. So what we need to do is we need to say, I want to request any correspondence between Adrian Shaw and Anita Sarkeesian. I want to request any information between Joan Acker and Anita Sarkeesian. We need to send out Freedom of Information Act documents. We need to start making up dossiers with FTC and other types of corruption. We need to start trying to get some attorneys who can represent us and who will actually take our matters to court and make them be active. So that once we get all the information, once we have all of it into a nice digestible legal argument, the attorney can look it over and say, well, I don't know about all this Gamergate stuff because this is months in the making, but I do know that these theories are bullshit, so ignore them.
Okay. Thank you for your time, Ben. You've enlightened us to a lot of stuff, and you're welcome back again anytime.
All right, no problem. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Ben.
Thanks, Ben.
See you in a bit, Ben.
So, Pigeon, who do we have on next?
We have Achilles, i.e. Rufflecast.
Rufflecast.
Achilles!
What's good, people? I miss Ben just by minutes.
Yeah.
I'll have to go back to cyber stalking him instead.
You go do that.
So, you go ahead.
Oh, just going to ask, what's on your mind?
Have you guys gone through the whole Agents of Balance stuff? Is there any questions I can answer about it? Any clarifications?
Robin?
Well, we don't really...
Robin, you casting shade on us like mad, hating on us. Come on, Robin, where's the love, homie?
I was going to say, we weren't really going to go in specifics about the Agents of Balance stuff. Do you have direct involvement with that?
I'm Agent Violet.
You do realize you have one of the people who started this on the stream, right, John?
No, I did not. I did not realize that.
That's your guess.
Hold on, Maestro. What I think we should do is basically, why don't you just give us your whole perspective on it? Maybe we can have some enlightenment on exactly what happened, and maybe quell any concerns people in Gamergate have about it. Go for it.
Sure, absolutely. Just a little backstory. Rafflecast, the podcast that I do, is a movie podcast normally, and we started doing special Gamergate debate episodes where we like do a fake character, like a pretend SJW, Anita Snake Keesian, or we have Felipe Pescado, who's the Spanish Phil Fish, who's hiding out in Mexico becoming a DJ, and we do fake debates with them just for fun. Right? So
Wait,
if you guys,
the shilling is real. Where's the shilling hour?
yeah, it's the Shilling Hour. That's actually a better name for it than the Gamergate debate. Should change it. So we so you know like the fake fake Steve Jobs, fake Hitler, like those parody Twitter accounts.
Vaguely.
You guys are aware of those? Yeah, so what they'll do is like they'll pick a character and they'll be like fake Steve Jobs and he'll write like how Steve Jobs would write and they just kind of make fun of it. So that's the kind of parody stuff that we do. And so we were in the chat and we saw Matt like he got an email, a whole bunch of other people got emails about from this guy, Agent of Balance, claiming that he was some secret like cabal who had insider bullshit. It was very, very silly. So it was an obvious troll, right? So we look into it, and we see that it's totally fake. He has like no followers, no subscribers. I think even his like biggest video on YouTube has 50 views. Like really nobody. He also opened up a like a sign-up sheet for something, and it had like 2 signatures. So we were like, okay, this is an easy one to play with because it's so ridiculous. Like the initial email, who Sargon got and IA and a whole bunch of other people got, which is funny. So we were making fun of it. So we decided to take the Agents of Balance name, and then we made Agents of Color accounts. So we're like Agent Purple, Agent Orange, which obviously has other implications. Agent Yellow, Agent Silver. So we just made a bunch of them, and then we would and we all followed each other, and we started tweeting at each other in a circle in Japanese. So I would take like song lyrics from like British artists and then put it into Google Translate and just tweet it to each other. Just mostly just joking around with each other because we were getting a lot of flack online because of the Skype call that we're in. People like specifically was saying it was like a secret cabal, and like some other people like Jay Fox were saying that, oh yeah, this is like insider talking. But what's funny is that it's an open Skype call. Like literally, you just message Secret Squaff on Twitter the same way that we message you guys add to this call. Quite literally the exact same. That's how I got in. I do a movie podcast. I have nothing to do with games. And yeah, so it's just like, and mostly it's a 24-hour call. So when, if Paul or anyone gets upset with Matt being like, this was said in the chat, remember, it's 24 hours a day. Matt's in there maybe once every 2 days for a couple hours. And not only is it text logs, but most of it happens in audio chat. So if you see the text logs, you're only getting like 1/4 of the story because most of the stuff is being talked about. Like I barely type anything in that chat log. So there was a joke where it was like, watch, Roguestar's going to latch on to this and run with it, and then he'll come attack us, and we'll come out to be shills and all this stuff. And we joked about it in the chat, and you can see it. And yet that's exactly what happened. And not only that, it happened a month later. Like we were doing this for like maybe a couple days, and then we kind of got bored, and it kind of faded out, and we started doing other things. And we kind of forgot about it, and then all of a sudden there was this leak, yesterday or today, and then it becomes a big deal again. But really, the whole point was us just to tweet in circles at each other, cryptic messages that say, we are balanced, balance will be restored. And then all of a sudden, this dude who was the original Agent of Balance finds us and makes a big picture of all of us together as if we're all in one group on his Twitter. Like, you can go see it. He even has all the colors up there. Like, Agent Violet's on there. I don't even know who Agent of Balance is. Like, he's not part of our group. And then he tweeted some really fucked up things, so that's kind of sad. It kind of ruined it for everybody. But he, once again, is nobody. He only has 24 followers. It's not like... I'm surprised this whole thing blew up, because I doubt anyone know who the Agents of Balance actually were. Robin, do you remember when we had that dude in there in the chat in your live stream?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, he didn't even say anything important. He was just, like, clearly just a troll with no information.
Yeah. But I can see you didn't realize that this might blow up in your face then.
Hell no, because, like, I mean, once again, mostly everything I do is for comedy, and even says on the Violet Twitter account, you can go on there in Japanese, like, this is a parody account. So I didn't think anyone would take it seriously because it was specified, but I guess they did. But, I mean, if you even look at the tweets that we sent out, like, read the tweets I sent out. They were like, please water me. I need to grow larger. Or, I'm not sure if this is Japanese specific, but there's a Godzilla out my window. Can someone please help me? And it says we're all from Fukushima and stuff like that. Like, it was so ridiculous. We just thought it was fun.
Pigeon, real quick, as my secretary, who's queued next? Anyone?
No, you feel free to add anyone next, mate.
Okay, I'm going to invite a certain gentleman named PK Fireball, who I said could come on the stream, but he would do that hiccup where there was a miscommunication, and I will be sure to get him in before the show's end. And also, Logic has requested to come on the stream, and we will have him after PK Fireball. I have a question for Rolfcast.
Hit me, buddy.
This situation, would you was this whole thing like a joke that just got offhand? Basically, would you describe?
Oh, absolutely. I didn't, not only that, but it was supposed to just be between us. The fact that like he took all of our names, because remember, we don't even know the actual agent of balance. He was just saying stupid shit online, so we're kind of teasing him a little bit by co-opting the name. And then he's added us all to this big picture on his Twitter account as if we're all part of his Agents of Balance group. And I'm like, what is he talking about? But I was like, whatever. I didn't think anything of it. And it kind of faded out. He stopped tweeting, and we stopped tweeting under those accounts. We actually started doing real shit, like donating to charity, doing live streams, stuff like that instead. And then he wrote a really distasteful tweet that may or may not be true on October 23rd about someone passing away from cancer, which is something I would want to. I don't think it's funny to joke about personally, but I mean,
he did come onto Robin's stream. I'm pretty sure, Agent of Balance or whatever, and
yeah, the second time I wasn't there for that one.
What would you describe? Would you own up to any accountability, either on behalf of yourself or?
Sure. I mean, I won't speak for anybody else, but if like the tweets I sent out, if that made anyone upset, that totally wasn't my intent. Like if you guys listen to the Gamergate debate, it's because there's so much negativity and everyone's so upset and there's a lot of fighting and stuff. I really dislike fighting and all the negativity.
Rolf, so you caused more.
My intent is always to make people laugh. So I thought that by making this parody account and then tweeting silly things and then interviewing that agent of balance, Agent Violet, on the podcast, it'd be funny. And that's all that.
It's kind of hard when people are wound so tight, though, to them.
Yeah, but I mean, when I'm complaining about Godzilla's out my window, there's like a reasonable level of like reasonable.
Be honest about it. It's like we're not playing a game. If you see what I mean. I mean, there's
I'm
against us right now.
Rafflecast isn't something technically to be taken seriously. If you see the name Rafflecast and you're like, well, this is probably a journalistic integrity, like you probably should reevaluate. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you're also entering into a group of people who are taking things seriously. You see what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I joke about a lot of things people take seriously. I joke about the war in Iraq. I joke about apartheid. I joke about things because my way of dealing with things and spreading, whatever I want to talk about is not by making debates or fighting with people online. I really don't like fighting, but I'm pretty good at making people giggle and saying silly things, and that's all I try to do.
Can I ask you, do you think you may have taken this a little too far?
Well, I don't understand how making an obvious parody account and then linking it to my account and then admitting fully that it's me is taking it too far.
Well, now, yes. But
I guess before when you were doing tweets like "We are watching you," especially when one of the concerns was, either stalking or threats of doxing.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't send tweets like that. That's fucking funny, though.
I think from this point, I mean, it's best not to dwell on it. We should just...
Yeah, people are too wound up and too uptight about it. It's something that's so obviously ridiculous. There's way more...
Well, if I can weigh in.
Please.
Yes. Question. Right. I agree that there's a time and place for humor about all manner of things. I'm a big fan of black humor myself personally, and you can probably gauge a sense of humor from me.
I'm sorry, are you saying that my humor is black because of my skin tone? Because I find that wildly offensive.
I also enjoy politically incorrect humor like that.
I am black though, so I should probably specify.
Yeah.
That. Okay.
But I do believe that there's proper context for when you're going to actually take up the stage and be a comedian, and when you're going to, not be serious, and you have to be careful not to conflate the two. Like, for instance, there's a new parody account that I followed called @TheMovieBlob. That's clearly a parody. It's clearly
that's funny.
Not being serious. I just think that if you're going to keep on this nature, try not to weigh into serious matters and stuff like that. And if you're going to troll people, make sure you're in on the joke.
Here's the thing. I'm going to make jokes about whatever I want to make them about. And whether or not they offend people, that's not my intent. My intent's not to offend people. My intent is just to make jokes about the things that I hear around me. I'm not going to stop making jokes about something because people are sensitive about it. And I'm not going to attack a subject because people are sensitive about it. I'm going to talk about pretty much everything, and I'm going to joke about pretty much everything. And the Agents of Color thing, like it's so obviously a joke the way that movie Blob is. I'm shocked people took it seriously. And when people did take it seriously, when I found out today that people were getting so upset, I immediately was like, hey guys, so you know, I made it Violet. This is clearly just a joke.
Yeah, I mean, you did the disclaimer, but in Japanese, and a lot of people fish Japanese.
Yeah,
so
yeah, that's fun.
that's kind of thing. If it said, if you put
you can also pop it into like Google Translate pretty easily, so it's not like it's...
Yeah, well, it's just that you have to make it blatant. That's a parody and a joke.
Nah,
Otherwise, a lot of
that takes away the fun.
Well, I think
Gwen wanted to say something about this before you go, Rolf. I believe.
Yeah, Achilles is fine too. Thanks.
Unless I read her.
I just want to mention on the whole "say whatever you want" thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a strong believer in letting people say what they want. I find a lot of the problems. Things are much more complicated than what I'm going to be saying. I'm just letting you know things are always more complicated. But my take on all this is that some people have thick skins, some people don't, and knee-jerking is a thing, and we need to do our best to not knee-jerk, not get offended, and if people are... We find people offensive, avoiding them, not going to their streams, not listening to their accounts, and going elsewhere. It's very important. Like, whenever someone does a personal attack against me, I always just laugh. But that's just me. I think that a big problem is there's a lot of people not used to the kinds of stuff we're up against, either be friendly trolls or nasty people saying nasty things on the other side or whatever. And it's important to sort of build up a thick skin, and we shouldn't be afraid to make fun of and criticize each other. Like, I tried to, and I failed to diffuse some things by saying so-and-so is free to say, this is how I feel about them, they're free to say whatever they want, I do not support censoring them, let them do their thing, and I've been trying to show that we can have differing opinions, we don't have to like each other, but we don't have to censor each other either.
That is true.
Totally right. I totally agree.
That is true, but there was a caveat to this in the fact that a lot of people ended up getting attacked who were on those disclosures that Poll released. It was kind of like a chain reaction. And
yeah, those poor guys.
Oh, yeah. I understand.
You're laughing now, Rolf, but if you could imagine, some of these people were actually quite upset by this.
Well, I mean, I'm in the chat with them. They're all the people I did this with. You know, they're the ones that coined the ideas and stuff. So I know exactly how they feel.
No, hold up. There were a lot of people that weren't in that chat that have ended up, because they at some point said something about someone getting harassed over this big explosion.
Well, get mad at the harassers. Don't get mad at the people making the jokes.
I'm not talking about the jokes. I'm talking about the list.
May I
talking about
just say
Poll's
something?
list. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. One of the big things is that this came to my attention and Robin and Serber's attention the other day when we saw these logs and things. And the thing that kind of upset us is the sense that it kind of came across like there was some talk about. I think Matt did a video on it as well as a part of the joke. And
Matt posted the video. What he did is he talked about the email he got. It wasn't about our Agents of Color. It was about the original email. We have no idea who this third-party person is.
That's okay, but
we only have 20 followers on Twitter, and one person subscribed to them. Like, they're really nobody.
Sure, but like in the video, like with the video, in reference to the video, there was some things like "lol, Matt, you're really selling it" and things like that. And when it's taken out of context and you're looking at it,
I could totally see how that looks bad.
And especially with this entire climate that's going on at the moment, it's like everybody's fucking in and everyone's got a side, and you fucking cunts on that side. You're anti-Roguestar.
Yeah, if I can make a suggestion, I think we shouldn't call each other names or stuff like that. Even if there's maybe something you disagree with, there's a polite way to talk to each other and jokes are jokes, but there's a lot of people being really, really rude, and we should probably try to avoid that.
Yeah, sure, but like what I'm trying to illustrate here is that like it's kind of you have to understand that this has kind of created like this has blown up in your faces in a way that you didn't intend, in the sense that there is a lot of people that are now going, okay, Matt has an in-group, and from everything that you're telling us, and I'm inclined to believe you, it isn't true. But
I mean, anyone who thinks that it's an in-group is more than welcome to come on the call and see what it is. We had this exact, these chat logs that were leaked, we had this exact discussion on Gamergate Debate Part 1 with Squaff and Roguestar to squash their beef. They went line by line over it. It's over a month ago. I'm shocked that Cop's only jumping on it now.
Yeah, but the thing
and anyone can tweet Squaff and come on in.
It's added to the atmosphere of tension. I think you have to take responsibility at least for that.
Sure, I'll take all the responsibility. In fact, don't blame anybody else. Don't blame Matt. Don't blame Squaff. Don't blame anybody. Just blame Rafflecast. I'm cool with that. It doesn't bother me at all.
To clarify an earlier point I made about jokes and the nature of jokes, don't take that as tone policing. Make all the horrible jokes you want. I'll probably laugh at them. Just do it in the right format is the only thing I had to say.
So I can't make jokes on Twitter, kind of thing, is what you're saying?
Oh no, not like that. Like if you're gonna make jokes on Twitter, I don't support
Can I say this really? If you can imagine, mate, looking back on what's happened here, do you have no regrets about what's just happened?
No, I didn't do anything wrong.
That's all I can ask.
Well, I think it's time to just move on from all of what's happened today.
I'm not exactly sure what would the bad thing about the Agents of Balance was. Like, can someone explain to me,
from my perspective?
Please, I'd love to hear.
The problem is that not everyone got the concept that this whole Agents of Balance thing was just a big joke, and some people took it seriously. And I think that does lie in fault of the person who was the target of the joke, but it also lies in part on the people making the joke. It's really something that I really can't comment too much about this because I do not know the full details, but it seems like that there is...
Once again, if I did offend anybody by saying "water me" in Japanese or saying that Godzilla's outside my window in Japanese, I do apologize.
Think it through, dude. We're not basically saying to you, yeah, you shouldn't be making jokes about watering me. Let's be honest.
Yeah, but I mean, those were the things that were said, right?
I know, but you're grinning your way through this, dude. But let's be honest with you. What's happened here? Yeah, well, it's fun for you, but what you've been doing is basically riling up a guy who's easily wound up.
Who did I rile up though? Who are you guys talking about?
Oh my good God! It's like.
Robin, just explain it instead of being condescending, buddy.
I'm not trying to be condescending, mate, but I believe you are.
When you're rolling your eyes, like, oh, come on, just explain it to me, man.
We have guests waiting. If you guys would like to continue that discussion off stream.
Honestly, to further comment, I believe that this is the wrong show to talk about this. We didn't really want to go too much into details about it. I'm sorry if we offended you, Rolfcast.
No, I'm not offended. I don't get offended, guys. Don't worry. And the only thing is, I just wanted to explain our point of view. It was supposed to be an in-joke where we meet between friends. We never meant for it to be anything more than that. And I honestly, sincerely apologize if anyone took it for more than it was. That wasn't our intent. And I've learned from this, and we'll make sure in the future when we do these parody streams that I am upfront right in the beginning to say this is a parody.
Thank you.
Yeah, hopefully that clears up and any confusion. And if anyone has any problems or any comments, I'd love to hear them at Achilles. Let's keep them respectful, and I'll be happy to engage.
All right. In that case, I think I will applaud you for what you just said there, and I think that sounded good. Thanks for coming on. Have a good one.
Cheers. Pleasure as always, everyone, and take care.
No worries.
Bye.
Cheers.
All right.
Okay, we have PK Fireball is next because he's been waiting patiently. There was a bit of confusion with his spot in the queue. I take responsibility for that. You're up. Go ahead.
Well, we also have Jason and PK in here.
Oh. Well, I just okay.
Jason, I'm the secretary. I call the shots. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry, Jason.
And we have Logic here, so now it's a party.
Hi, Logic.
Hey, guys.
Quick thing.
Logic, could you just wait 1 second, please? Let the guest talk first.
Yeah, before. I've been waiting all night, guys. Anyway, no, all the technical difficulties, it's perfectly fine. Like, I was on here the other night, so I only think it's fair that I should be put on at the end. Also, quick manner of business, Robin. Like, no one has streamed the past 2 days on the.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but you know, I've.
Yeah.
As you
I'd be
can
willing
imagine,
to.
shit's
I'd be
gone
willing
down,
to do one.
dude.
I'd be willing to do one of those.
Yeah. I've basically been up all night trying to get this sort of shit sorted out, if you can imagine. So I'm waking up basically
No,
when
it is
my
it's
stream
perfectly
is
fine.
about to finish. You
Like,
know.
I saw you on Oliver's stream last night, and y'all were kind of busy, so no, it's fine. Anyway, also another kind of quick thing before I introduce myself. Everyone, go follow Fart to Continue, because he is amazing.
He's not talk about certain individuals with questionable character. That's all I'm going to say about that. Continue.
Questionable character. He gave me 70 followers when I had 14.
That doesn't. That's.
Well, let's just.
yeah.
Let's just.
I know his past. I know his past. I'll say that.
Okay. Just let you know, but
Yeah, I know. Like, again, that was just my chilling out. I'm sorry. Anyway, y'all talking to me right now. You can call me Drew.
All right, Drew.
Yeah. Anyway, I will no longer be talking about anyone else.
It's okay, mate. It's okay.
Yeah, unless they're relevant to the discussion.
Sure.
So, hi.
Hello, Drew.
Hi. What I've been kind of seeing recently. What I've been kind of seeing recently is a lot of people realizing that policing each other, like you shouldn't say this or will look bad. I've been seeing people realizing that that's not working anymore, which is really good. Also, I've been I feel like over the past few days we've been kind of growing character-wise, with a lot of people are doing what you guys are doing. Well, I mean with the open house stuff, in that we're just letting small people on and talking.
Right.
So, thank you for that. What I wanted to say on here is anyone who really can do a stream, you can not be popular at all. But if you say to maybe someone who's a little bit bigger than you on Twitter, hey, I'm doing a stream, wanna come and talk, and they say yeah, then they can invite their people in, and then you got yourself a little stream, and then you can have your voice, and you can say what you want.
Yeah, anybody can really do a stream, which is good, but then there's also the case of not diluting the airwaves, but I mean, if anybody else doesn't think that's an issue.
To what point is that really, important?
It depends on if there's anything special going on, I'd say, but really not most of the time, not at all.
Yeah. If you want to go watch a big guy stream, you can. If you want to stay wherever you are, then you can.
See, we get a lot of our signal boosting from some of the bigger people. We got our signal boosting today from Margaret Gell, Whiskey, and Gwen, who's in here with us right now, and I'm sure Robin and Steve Tom Sawyer as well. So it's always good to have some signal boosting, and you can really get things started if you contact some of these people and have something worthwhile.
Yeah, if I'm awake to do the open house, I'll give you whatever you need.
Yeah, and here's the point when I admit that I didn't really come in here with a topic. So that's a bit of a problem.
Well, you were in here yesterday, so.
Yeah.
Hey, don't apologize.
No,
no one has to apologize. It's
I
me.
was here on Tuesday.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you don't have to come up here with a specific topic. We can always ask you questions. For instance, what is your opinion on this current state of Gamergate, the success and goals it's made, and also where it's going in the future?
It is not. a lot of people who are trying to scream in your ear would have you believe that it's getting smaller. It's not. Like people, I've seen a lot of people doing different estimates on how many individual people have used the hashtag like in the past month, and it's lower estimates are 40,000, which is still huge, and upper estimates are 150.
Whoa, wait, people?
Yeah, individuals on Twitter.
I don't know if we're that big.
Sorry,
Like even 40,000 seems like that would be pushing the limit.
You've got to factor in the negative people as well, the negative
I know.
posts.
Oh, true. That is true.
Even then, that's still like attention to it.
I mean, Gamergate can keep going as long as we just get our shit together and start focusing on something. That's all that's really needed.
What shit do we have to get together?
Well, we're very unfocused. You got a lot of people trying to take on, SJW type stuff. You got some people that are trying to make bridges with devs. You got some people that are trying to contact some of the government, FTC and such like that. And of course, then we do have our mailing list, emailing list for the boycott of the day. It's kind of spread out there, but I mean, a lot of people argue that it's good just to multitask on a lot of things, but I think when it comes down to it, if you want to get something done quicker, you might want to just focus on one thing.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people they feel like they're like banging their head against a wall, hoping that someone will hear them. And like a lot of stuff that they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of want to say the same thing with kind of like what Ben was saying. There's only so much that emails can really do. I think that's actually a true statement.
He was kind of getting into stuff that I didn't think was like Gamergate specific.
It isn't really Gamergate specific. He's a broad kind of view guy. He's looking at a lot of things.
I heard him on I forget whose stream it was, but he was on someone's stream last night. It was the one where someone came in and like basically gave everyone a mental pep talk.
Right. Well.
Trying to remember who that was. Anyway, on next thing.
Well, you don't have a.
If I may comment, like real quick, Dart. If I may comment on like the email thing, I think another problem with Gamergate right now is that the emails themselves are like unfocused. Like in my opinion, we should be focusing on like we should go back to the boycott goal of the day, which has kind of fallen out of favor since Jadefire bowed out, sort of, kind of.
I believe Remy has taken on this particular function.
Absolutely, right. Remy's doing it now.
Right. So what I was going to say was to finish the thought. We should be focusing on like one specific advertiser or set of advertisers rather than scatterbrained approach that trying to shotgun it and spread too thin. What would you say about that, about the current approaches? Do you think just sending emails is better, or do you think a specific email goal is better?
Broad emails to everyone, or like one person at a time?
Okay.
I'd say
because if I had to pick between the two, I would go one person at a time.
Well, right now, guys, it might be wise to be focusing on the FTC at the moment.
Yeah. Again, this is.
We've pretty much done as much damage as we can to their advertisers.
That's kind of part. I was gonna kind of talk about that if it was led into that.
Go for it.
Well,
yeah. That is a fantastic idea. Please, anyone who has any info, give it to them, because like that's the only way that we're gonna turn heads in that area.
And also, it is just to do with the journalist, Games Journal Pros list. If a couple of thousand people suddenly email in about this, and about this particular game's Journo Pro list, they will be looking into this.
Because hasn't it been like proven that they were hiding their advertisers?
That was Gawker, wasn't it?
Yeah. Were there Gawker people in the Games Journo Pro thing? I'm sorry, I'm so misinformed. I'm so
By the
sorry.
way, this was just a point I wanted to put in earlier. Why are we focusing on a boycott of the day? Like, personally, I'd see if it would be, maybe it would be more beneficial if it was a boycott of the week. Maybe we'd see some more results than what we've been seeing recently.
I think it's a boycott of the day. That way we aren't constantly spamming a company for an entire week.
I think people would get tired of that, yeah.
Well, no, what we can do, of course, is to split this up so it is boycott of the week with various people that can be targeted, so that people at their will and at their own behest can maybe you can do it so you concentrate on that. I'm thinking about basically lessening Remy's output on this one, so she doesn't have to spend her time doing that. Could just make up one, and that could be used throughout the entire week, dedicated to whatever day.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Anything else that we could talk with Drew about?
Drew, can you dance? Can you juggle?
Have you said something nice about somebody on Gamergate today?
Can you buy Pigeon Call of Duty?
Yeah, can you buy me Advanced Warfare? That'd be good.
Oh,
What is the meaning of life?
I still can't buy you Advanced Warfare. I'm so sorry.
God fucking damn it.
Also, to learn the meaning of life, go watch the Monty Python movie, The Meaning of Life. Good
All
movie,
right.
movies.
Well, we need to move on to this last guest that we got here before we get to Logic, who's actually kind of a usual, but we do have one more guest waiting.
Actually, we do have one final guest after Jason and Logic have their turns.
One last. Yeah.
Thank you for coming on. We appreciate.
Can I say one last thing?
Oh, go for it.
I am having a movie coming out over the weekend. Please go watch it. My name is Stephen Hawking.
That's not bad.
Yeah, anyway, thanks for having me on, guys. Sorry I was so dumb and throwing
It's okay, you're welcome.
No, you're okay, man.
You're welcome.
Just don't do it again.
Okay, bye.
See you, man. All right, Jason.
Jason,
wait.
you're up next.
Wait. Logic says he needs to go in 5 minutes, and he just wants to say something minor. Is it Jason?
Jason, it's all right if just text or is it all right if Logic goes before you?
Oh, I said he can go last.
Okay, fine. Logic, you're next.
Hello, hi. How you guys doing?
Doing good.
I'm actually in a good mood. You guys have me working in fucking overtime, but I'm in a good mood now. It seems that that the recent disaster that happened today and got defused pretty fast. So apologies has been sent out. People are talking amongst themselves. Unions are starting. New unions are starting to be made. The actual trolls, thanks to the Bill Wagner reveal today, is also starting to come to light. So everybody's starting to come back together. So yes, today was absolutely pointless.
Can we all hug and cry now?
Yay!
If anything else, let this be an example for us, okay, that we can have these discrepancies and stupid ass fights, all right. But at the end of the day, we still get back together. It's like it happens every single time. It's a pattern, but that makes us stronger people. Yeah, and that makes us stronger people. It's so important to remember that with us. What makes us different from our opposition is they can't get along for fucking 2 minutes. These people can't get along for 2 days to keep Stop Gamergate, for more than 2 days to keep Stop Gamergate going and defusing. They have absolutely no sense of cohesion or teamwork whatsoever. And at the end of the day, I fucking hate all of you. I All of you are pieces of shit. I don't want to have anything to do with you guys whatsoever. Right? And I just want you to know, especially Robin, and fucking British people, man. God damn it.
Fuck y'all.
Right?
Yeah, fuck your house.
But the point is that, you
I
know,
love you, Lodge.
I love you too, man. And at the end of the day, we can all get along and move on. Being skeptical is good. Remain skeptical. Remain when fucking evidence is shown to you, verify and trust. Okay, and make sure verify, not trust and verify. We're in verify and trust now, and it's fine.
It's getting very hugboxy in here.
Oh, yo, you want to show? Yo, you don't have any idea. You want me to show Hugboxy? No, I can whip my. Okay, no, we can't talk about that. This is
That wouldn't be legal.
Yeah, that wouldn't be legal. That's cyber rape. Anyway, just remember, like, yeah, all this bullshit. Monday, I mean, King OP, despite the fact Monday and Matt are together talking right now and remedying all their fucking bullshit. It's not. So remember. That's what's important. If anything else, I think today was a good day. Why do I think today was a good day? It's because a whole bunch of people had these insular tensions that they just needed to fucking lash out on each other for. And sometimes that's a good time.
Yeah, it's a volcano that needed to erupt.
Exactly. Sometimes you make better friends after you get in a good fight with them. Look at Simon. Simon met his wife by beating the shit out of her, right?
No, I think she started it.
She started it, right? Beat the shit out of each other, and then they fell in love, and they've been together, like 24, 30 years now? Yeah. So, there you go. Sometimes things happen that way. And that's pretty much all I got to say.
But Simon is Polish.
That's how these people operate.
Yeah. In other words, we all need to be more Polish. There you go. That's the answer.
Oh, God.
Does that mean we just roll over for the Germans whenever they come knocking?
No, we ride out to meet tanks on bicycles. That's
Sweden.
what we do. Oh, shut up about Sweden. I thought we were over that.
If Cerberus wants to ask me, if you fuck logical, do you become illogical? No, you become more logical. Because by fucking that logical person, right, you gain knowledge, right?
I like the fact that you waited for this to say it, you know.
Logical.
Yeah, it's like mine.
This is golden.
Hashtag occupy my dildo.
It's like mind rape. Anyway, remember to just stay classy and stay together. I'm gonna move on and stop being a retard, and you guys go and take care for the rest of the show. Y'all take care of each other.
Take a bet that you can't stop being retarded.
Listen, you want me to slap my big penis on your face, okay?
But then I'd win the bet.
He wants to waggle his willy on your chin, basically.
You want me to take your temperature?
Okay.
All right, logical. Have a good night.
Anything
Good night.
place is big in plastic.
Okay, this conversation just got kind of weird. I'm just gonna leave.
Oh, it started to get weird now?
Oh my
All
God.
right, let's move on to Jason, who has been waiting ever so patiently. Jason, what's on your mind?
Hello, can anyone hear me?
Hello
Yes.
there, Miles Edgeworth.
Yeah. Anyway, the only thing I'm going to say, since everyone's already covered pretty much everything else I was going to talk about, is why are we not emailing FOIA requests and seeing if we can actually party man some other people while we're at it.
You're breaking up a bit there, bud. You've got a lot in the background.
Oh, he was saying,
Yeah,
why
sorry,
we
I'm
aren't
in a
doing...
public place, can't be helped.
Yeah, basically he was saying, why aren't we pursuing the Freedom of Information Act in terms of mailing and following that up more, or getting more people on top of that?
Because unless there's some kind of law enforcement investigation, they legally have to send you the info if they find something within X amount of days.
Or as long as there isn't any investigation going on, of course.
That's what he said.
Mm. But we have certainly encouraged people to do this. Most actionable right now is, of course, at the FTC. They are listening. They are waiting for someone to give them something to go on. And if that happens, of course, we won't need any sort of Information Act stuff, because it'll all be coming out at that point.
I still
Not
like
if
the
what
idea of
Oliver
just.
said was true.
Well, as I said, he can't reveal any information that these people have given to him.
Yeah, he can't, but if we request FOIA and they give it to us, well, we don't need it. It's like, I got it through
Well, if they're
FOIA.
not,
You want
if they're not actually investigating it, yes. we will
Right.
get
I
that
think at this
information.
point they just said they not. I mean, he was. I think one of Oliver's posts was a real. Tweets was a real read between the lines. I'd have to look up the exact one again, but he said they know who it was. They didn't have to investigate. Just from patterns, so that might hint that we should do the Freedom of Information Act to then find out who it was.
Yeah.
Since they're not.
That's essentially it, yeah.
Yeah, so you're definitely right that this is something we should be more actively pursuing.
Indeed.
So, just to continue discussion, Jason, I'm going to ask you actually been forgetting to ask people this. What do you think Gamergate needs to do to push on forward and do better?
Could you repeat that? You kind of broke up there for me.
Okay, what do you think Gamergate needs to do to be more efficient or to progress forward and accomplish things more? Accomplish things is what I'm trying to say.
I see. Remember that context means everything. Trust but verify. Stop caring what E-celebs who are obviously out for drama and views care about. And no gods or kings, only man. We are anonymous. I don't know. Just keep doing what we've always done and stop touching the poop.
Keep going, folks. I think that's the main message.
Sounds about it.
Yeah. It's a case of it. It's like a tank charge. You don't stop for anything unless you're actually getting surrounded.
And then you just crash into wherever you see a tank, which is everywhere.
Is it me, or does Black Knight and Jason sound like brothers? Is there something you're not telling us?
I have no idea who Black Knight is, and did you steal someone I know?
I think it's just the deep voices.
They live in the same basement, or...
Hey, for the record, I live on the second floor. Thank you very much.
What, of the basement?
You've got two
I'm
floors
not sure
to the
how they
basement?
do shit in Britain, but
That's
we
a
don't.
big basement.
Yeah.
I'm in relay. I'm
Fallout
fine.
British architecture.
Well,
No, we just don't have paranoid Fallout shelters.
Pigeon,
Glorious America.
Who's asking what?
Pigeon, didn't you say there was one more guest on after Jason?
Let me check. Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, we do have what's her name in this?
Yvonne.
Yvonne Williams.
Yvonne's in here.
Yes, Yvonne is next.
Howdy, Yvonne.
Doing all right. Just
Brilliant.
finishing up work.
Are you going to bring in some sensible?
We haven't exactly finished with Jason yet, so I was just getting our things together.
Oh yeah, you guys go ahead.
Jason, do you have anything else that you would like to add on, like maybe what's been going on lately with Gamergate? Jason?
He said he was going off, so I guess he can do his goodbyes later.
Oh, okay,
Yvonne,
Yeah, we can't read that on the stream.
I'm sorry if I pronounce your name wrong. Is it Yvonne or Yvonne?
It's Yvonne. Either way works though.
Okay. What's on your mind?
I just was talking to my husband earlier today about the whole issue with the stream this morning and everybody kind of breaking down. I always kind of think of these I guess the big name quote unquote people like entertainment. Take it all with a grain of salt, you know, like a horoscope. You know, you read the horoscope and you kind of laugh at it. You may take it a little serious here and there, but for the most part, it's entertainment. And that's how I kind of think of the whole situation from this morning with King of Pole and you know, Mundane Matt and all of that. But that's just me.
It is entertaining in a certain light. Sometimes I forget that sometimes you just need to. The best defense mechanism against like, you know, life is humor.
Explosions are pretty.
Yes,
Exactly.
yes they are. yeah, a lot of times we just need to take a step back and laugh at the whole thing. I think Rolfcast had a point on that note. It may have been a joke that got offhand, but we can still laugh at it.
Yeah.
Right, and as an old, I guess a person that's been on the internet since like 1993, 94, you can't take everything on the internet so seriously. Just if you start getting stressed out about something that's going on, on the computer, turn off the screen, go outside, take a nice walk, have a nice cup of tea. You know what I mean?
What happened to our internet at the minute?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, just all I really wanted to say. I have to get back to work because I have to finish up a few things. Did you guys have any questions for me?
Where do you see the future of Gamergate going?
That is
Or
an
at least would you
excellent
like?
question.
Where would you like it to be going?
Yes, Robin's
Well,
more specific.
I'd like to see more things coming out, I guess mainstream, about the true face of Gamergate, as opposed to all the mainstream outlets saying that it's all nothing but misogyny and all of that good stuff. But I guess it's going to be kind of hard to tell. But I would love to see a lot of these journalists and websites showing their ethics publicly, kind of like IGN is doing, except all of them start doing that, have their code of ethics out there. I guess that would be the first step in Gamergate, and just kind of give us a new face, if you will. Now, that's what I hope happens. That's the positive outlook.
Okay. I think that was a good closing statement. Unless you have anything more to say, or anyone has any questions.
No, I'm done.
Okay.
One quick thing. I'm sorry. I know a couple of people have been asking me to doodle some stuff for them, so get in touch with me if you need me to draw anything for you. I'm
I
always
may
free to
take you
draw.
up on that request.
And I draw for free unless it's some giant, piece of work or comic. Then most of the stuff I draw for free.
All right.
Hot Pockets.
And one more note on something you said about the mainstream media outlets. I believe personally that we will start seeing a change in tune for them when they realize that the narrative is not being bought by the public at large.
What is Gamergate's master plan? Crashing this industry.
Okay.
Jason, you all right there?
I think he does.
Yes. Not realizing the babe hosting reference. Good grief, dude.
I can hardly hear you, dude.
It's kind of hard to hear you, so that's probably why we didn't get it.
Yeah, you do sound like you're talking out of a goldfish bowl. Bowl, not bowl.
All right.
He's
thanks
doing
for coming on,
fan
Yvonne.
culture stuff. Let's ignore it and keep moving on.
Well,
Alright.
I think it's time to start making our closing statements now.
Just so I'm clear, Pigeon, do you have any more guests queued by any chance?
There was one, but it doesn't look like he's joining. I sent him a link a little bit
Okay.
ago.
We will put him in. There is one guy we promised top billing, not top billing, first in the queue for next week. We'll put him in as second for next week. Oh, sorry, not next week. Saturday, actually, since we want to do this every other day.
Does that mean that's impacting on Sunday? Because I'm trying to speak to Lizzie at the moment.
We are still going to do a show Sunday unless something goes wrong. If something goes wrong, I will announce it immediately on Twitter, and I don't believe anything will go wrong. Everything does seem to be going according to plan. So it should.
Well, now it's fucked, isn't it, John? You just said everything's going to go to plan.
My Amish is showing, I can tell, technological difficulties, slopping the spaghetti all over the place. All right, I get it. Also,
we really should change our pasta motif, really. Something more easy to handle.
All right. Let's all do a round table final thoughts, starting with Gwen, because she wants to say something right now.
Oh, she wants to say something off air.
Oh, okay. Never mind then.
Can't read either.
All right, Jason, you're the guest right now. Do you have something to say?
Keep pushing forward and keep moving forward. The only way this ride ends is when we put on the brakes. We will not let the signal die.
I thought this train had no brakes.
That's what he was saying.
We removed them right at the start.
Amen to that, Jason. Amen to that. Dart, any closing thoughts?
I thought today was a much better stream than Tuesday. We will need some more signal boosting, but I think we really got a lot more guests in than we did on Tuesday, and things went a lot more efficiently.
All right, as host of the stream, any faults with it, I take the responsibility because I am hosting these things, and I'm the guy who puts them together. So if you want to send me flack, do tweet my secretary, at Ordinary Pigeon.
I'm actually start charging for this.
What do you mean?
I think Pigeon did an alright job. I think Pigeon did an alright job tonight, apart from not speaking for the
In all
first half an
seriousness,
hour.
Pigeon, thank you for your hard work. It is a job that I know I would have difficulty doing, and you handled it very well.
Damn straight, you cunt.
Cerebus, any closing thoughts?
I'm tired and Dash is a space worm. Not Dash, Dart, that's it, that's your name.
That's how tired he is.
I'm really tired.
He always does that.
Not much. Thank you for having me on as a guest host, and hope to do this again someday.
Yeah, we'll definitely bring you on as a guest host again sometime.
Yeah, you did really well, man. It was awesome.
Robin, closing thoughts?
Yeah, I'd like to make 2 points. First of all, carbon-based radio gaming radio is nearly there, and we're about $450 away. If anyone's got any spare shekels left to put us over the edge there, we can really get to start doing this. We've got, I believe Monday, Matt is going to come on and have an interview with us. We're looking to get King of Pole in, and perhaps Sargon as well. We're just reaching out to them as we speak. But we've got plenty of content for you guys to chew on, so it's going to be really good. And I'd also like to thank everybody that on the Gamergate stream right now, on the Gamergate Twitter feed, that have been basically saying lovely things about me. I believe there's some sort of trend at the moment where it's saying something nice about someone in Gamergate. One of the comments there actually brought me slightly to tears, and I'd just like to say thank you all for what you've said. It means a real lot. It means huge to me, really.
Pigeon, did you want to have any closing thoughts, or did we already go over you?
No, we had a great stream, guys. Thank you ever so much for coming. Get in contact with me if you want to become a guest on the next stream, if you want to get in before everyone else, because next time it's going to be another clusterfuck of about 20 people messaging me going, I want to get on, let me get on in 5 minutes, let me get on. And then they come on and they don't have a microphone, and then we kick them off again, and then we shout at them and they cry. So if you want to get ahead of all of that shit, just message me on Twitter at Ordinary Pigeon, and we'll get you in the queue ready for the next stream on Saturday.
Okay. Since everyone has their say,
Can I just say one more thing? Sorry, John.
Go for it.
The open house is not going to be open at the normal time tomorrow. I have to pop down to the job centre and basically, justify my existence. I think I'm doing the interview just before 3 o'clock, so I'll probably start at around 4:30, maybe 5 tomorrow afternoon, which will be around sort of mid-morning for most of you in America.
Okay, and before I close out, Gwen?
Or mid-morning. Yeah, mid-morning.
Gwen?
Now's your chance.
I'm just lagging a little bit. I'm just flagging to unmute my mic. I wanted to say I think more people should get involved in this Say Something Nice About Someone in Gamergate. I received a slew of very nice things myself, and
I think it's lovely, isn't it?
yeah, one person said, mind if I just read a couple of them?
Sure.
Go for
it. At Modern... I hate my laggy computer. At Modern Day Merlin, he said, Gwendolyn Knight does some tireless and amazing work putting people's voices out there. And at Electric Genetics said, Gwendolyn Knight is the knight GG deserves. And at Zenemy said, Gwendolyn Knight had better let us know how that wedding goes, because we all want to know. And at Casta Trogue said, Gwendolyn Knight likes a Pokemon I like. So all different variants of output, but all still good, and I think more people should do it to kind of de-escalate things. I think it's very sweet, and we should say it about anyone that we can think of, big or small.
All right, that was beautiful. Now I'd like to close out the show. Thanks everyone who tuned in to view and watch. This show wouldn't really be anything without people tuning in to watch and listening to what each individual voice has to say. Thanks to all the people who called in and essentially called in and took their time to talk with us. We really want to get your voices heard, and we really believe that it's the individuals that matter, not necessarily like just the top heads. And I also like to thank personally Black Knight, Serbs, Dart, Gwen, Pigeon, and Robin for being excellent co-hosts with me. And also shout out to everyone who signal boost Sargon. Gwen helped. Whiskey Grenade, I hear, gave us a signal boost. Anyone else who signal boost, thank you as well. It's your help was very greatly appreciated. We are going to do another show this Saturday at 4 o'clock Eastern Time. That should be 9 o'clock GMT for you Londoners out there. Everyone else has to calculate on their own terms. Forgive me. And I promise future shows will be better, and there will be more planning involved with these shows so that there will be less Amish and less spaghetti flying about. So everyone, have a great night.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.